Welcome everybody to the Thursday night forum. It is the Champions League show, and Arsenal put up some kind of a show last night, but not all of us were watching it. I did not see the game live. I will say I did not see the game live, and from what I'm hearing about it, I would probably waste 2 hours of my life doing that. So I don't want to do that to myself. But welcome, Gary. Welcome, Stan. Welcome, Lawrence.
Hello.
All right. Gary, let's start us.
Hi.
That you didn't see the game live. I didn't see it at all. So
I did not see it at all. I didn't see it live. I didn't watch it back.
Right. During these, when the Champions League games are on, which is like usually 12 o'clock, that's lunchtime for me, and I'm at work. So what I try and do is go to work, ignore my phone, rush home, put on the replay and watch it. And just as I got on the bus, I looked at my phone and I saw a tweet update from a Burkout Wonderland advertising their show, and it had the score 1-0 to Porto. And I thought to myself, even though I didn't want to know the score, thanks, man. He just saved me a couple of hours, because when I saw that the goal was scored in the final minutes, I was like, there's no way I would have wanted to sit through that. So I dodged the bullet.
Yep. Dodge the bullet, but we're here to talk about it, and we're here to chronicle the season that Arsenal are having. A little bit of a roller coaster. This could be a little speed bump. I don't know. I'll go to Gary next, and then Lawrence, because Gary, what are your thoughts on the game? You may have seen it live. I don't know.
I saw the second half. Of course, same thing. I'm working, so when I finally got a chance to actually put the game on, it was already halftime, and or saw the end of that. I saw the end of the first half, and then I saw the rest of the game. Then I went back and watched the first half, which was, as you say, probably stupid, because I knew kind of how the game ended and all of that. But I guess I'm just gonna say, I mean, Arteta likes to do things twice. He'll never just get over the hump the first time. You always seem to have to go through things twice to figure it out, as opposed to, how about we just get it right the first time, And I think also another thing is, if it's an entirely new team that he's never coached against, then it seems like he doesn't really, especially in Europe, his teams don't come out ready to win that first match, or at least the away match. So I don't know. It's hard to get mad at it, because we've seen this before. We just kind of get lulled into, a false sense of security, and next thing you know, bang, he smacks you in the face that, look, we're still not there yet. So there you go.
Yep. And look, we'll roll out all of the superlatives, and we are all 4 different people. We're Arsenal supporters, and we're all going to think differently about this game. So with that being said, pass it over to Lawrence. How are you, Lawrence?
Oh, could be better. I missed the first 15 minutes because I was having problems logging on to Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
So I missed the Declan Rice booking. Apparently, it wasn't. Some people have told me it wasn't really a yellow card offence. Just the referee wanted to stamp his authority on the game early on. But in saying that, I just can't believe that we put in such a shit performance. After the run that we've been on recently. All right, it was against Nottingham Forest, against Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Burnley. Not powerhouses in the game.
And Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Mm.
And people were, getting excited, saying, oh, yeah, we're favourites. We're going to turn Porto over 4-0. Are you fucking serious? Are these people actually Arsenal fans or what?
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I was worried. I said to you on the last podcast, I'm worried about this game, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, we approached it in the wrong way.
yeah, but you are about every game, in fairness, Lawrence.
You're worried about the Burnley game.
Yeah, but all joking aside, right?
Yeah.
No shots on target, 9 corners. You know, it's clear that Arteta does not have a plan B. If you're having 9 corners and you've got most of the possession, and the front 3 are not producing the goods, then why are you not switching things around? Why are you not putting Saka on the left wing and Martinelli on the right wing? What is this? What is this love affair Arteta has with this Chelsea sloppy second that we've signed for 68 million? He did fuck all last night. Did nothing at all whatsoever, and yet Arteta pulls off Trossard and puts on another defensive midfielder when it wasn't even necessary. We were 0-0. We were 10 seconds away from getting 0-0.
Yeah.
And when Jorginho came on, he gave the ball away 3 times in 5 minutes. You know, and I look at the bench. We had 3 kids on the bench. We had 2 goalkeepers, and the only attacking options we had were Nketiah and Smith Rowe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why didn't he make more changes in that second half? And this is what this is the biggest criticism I've got with Arteta is substitutions. They're either non-existent or he doesn't make the necessary substitutions during a game.
Yeah.
You know, and again, when I was on Facebook today, everyone said, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to turn them over in the second leg." Are you real? If we play like that in the second leg, it's going to be Villarreal all over again. I'm telling you.
Sure.
You know, and it's just that.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
I'm sorry, but as I said, I'm a fan of Arsenal FC, not Arteta FC, as most of our fan base seems to think.
Yeah.
You know, they seem to think Arteta can't do no wrong. They will not criticise him when he does things badly, right? And as I said, the badge of my shirt, if you can see it, you don't see a picture of a Spaniard on there. Sorry about that. It doesn't say Arteta, does it? There's no picture of a Spaniard on there. It's Arsenal FC, not Arteta FC.
Yeah.
And all these mugs in our fan base who won't have a bad word or criticise him when he cocks things up like he did yesterday, you know, they know nothing about Arsenal whatsoever. No one is bigger than Arsenal FC. Not any of you, not Arteta, not me. It's this club will keep on going after we've all gone. So
yeah. Look, there's passion right there in Lawrence, and you can't deny the words or the feelings that he's feeling. He is an Arsenal fan, like the rest of us. Some of us will say we're going to go to Porto and win 4-0.
Rumor has it that when that Porto game kicked off, Lawrence's face was as smooth as a baby's bum, and he grew that beard over the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
How bad it was.
I said, well, I will shave this when Havertz scores a hat trick.
So next time,
Hey.
so you're going to end up looking like Chewbacca at some point,
like a Tibetan monk.
No, it's a ZZ Top, man. Stop that. You know that. It's a ZZ Top, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say I will shave it when Saka scores a hat trick, but you know he's only.
So I like a lot of what Lawrence says. I agree with quite a lot of it. You know, I agree. I especially agree with the sentiment that you can be an Arsenal supporter and you can also hold certain players or the manager at account at certain times for what you think are maybe bad in-game decisions or what have you. Because we're on the podcast and, you know, we have to come here. We don't have to, but we come here and we talk about the games that we've seen. And sometimes there will be players that are going to be highlighted for causing a mistake or going through, you know, a bad run and not contributing. And we're going to discuss that. And I think it's quite easy to be able to be an Arsenal supporter, but hold the manager to account. And there are a section of the fans that even if you ask a question on Twitter, the way that they frame it, they try and frame it like, you know, they'll retweet your whatever you said, and then they'll quote tweet something like, which I had recently. I picked up my phone to see what was going on, and I saw this rubbish. I'm out for a few days. Do you know what I mean? Trying to like show you up, and it's like, well, what is Twitter for? It's for having conversations and asking questions and having short how many characters that you can get in and have a bit of a chat, right? I get it that there are some people that are overly negative. There are some people out there that it seems to me like, for example, I think it was the game before last, right? Our last league game, right? It wasn't. We still had maybe like half an hour to go, and I saw people tweeting about how shit everything was. I'm like, the game's not even finished, mate. And how many goals did we win that game by? And they were kicking off. They're just kicking off. And I'm the sort of person that I try to think, okay, everyone's entitled to their opinion. And I see some really bad opinions, and I'm like, you know, the old me, I would be straight in the comments and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know ball. Because I used to be like that maybe like 15 years ago. Now I just scroll past these people. I just like think, okay, that's your opinion. I don't agree with that shit at all. And I just like either block them, unfollow them, mute them, or what have you. And I agree with Lawrence about that. But I do think as well that what he was saying about the bench, I think that we're in a situation where it's obvious to me that we've got a bench that Mikel Arteta doesn't trust. And it's quite as simple as that. He does not trust them. If you're not in the first 11, to me, that's kind of like a gauge to you of where whereabouts you are on the trust level of Mikel Arteta. And I think that sometimes we haven't got a plan B because he looks over to that bench and he just doesn't want to draw from that well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe part of that is his fault. I don't know. You know, some of the players he has bought, some of the players like Eddie Nketiah and Reece Nelson, he's inherited. But even, you know, a couple of games ago when they came off the bench and we were coasting with goals, they just came on and made no contribution. They had no pressure. They could have, you know, been in the mix. And it was just like, who are these guys? So I kind of get it. And I think that once we maybe get ourselves into a position where Mikel Arteta can look at his bench and have trust in everyone that he looks at, we might start seeing more variety. Now, I'm not using that as an excuse because maybe him and Edu are to blame for us not having that. Or maybe we just aren't there yet. Maybe that's still part of the investment and building blocks that will come. But until we get into that position, we're going to be hampered. Because we can't win trophies with just 11 players or 12, 13 players. We need a lot more to get through all of this.
Yeah, definitely, Stan. Gary, you want to weigh in a little bit more on that one? Or
no, there's a lot to unpack in this whole thing. There's a lot to unpack. You can pick out anything you want. Like I said, Arteta, I think, isn't learning from his experiences in Europe. This is his fourth go around in Europe now, knockout round, away match, and we come out flat. Once again. I mean, he's not learning because we look the same. The games all look the same like this. I mean, the bench is one thing, but I mean, at least get the starting 11 to come out and play. I mean, can any one of them, like we started the game out, you know, and it was like poor. So you expect if there's changes to be made, you bring on, you know, somebody at halftime because the game wasn't going to get any better. I think not. I don't know. Jorginho was not healthy, and that might be another issue we have is that we just don't have players that are reliable. But Jorginho probably should have started this match.
Exactly.
This is a big match. This is a Liverpool match, all right?
Yeah.
But he came on and didn't contribute, did he?
No. But, like, you know what?
No, he gave the ball away 3 times.
When you see
he
somebody
gave the
come
ball
in
away
late,
3 times when he upped it.
We've seen this before, fellas. We see players come in. He's been sitting for how long now? You can't expect an old man like that to just come off, come out onto the pitch after sitting around. He hadn't played in like I think a week or 2
since Liverpool, right? The Liverpool game.
So
at least 2
so
weeks.
we've had how many games we've had since the Liverpool match? 2,
but
right?
equally, because he's an old man, we can't play him in every game.
No, so but I'm not saying you got to play him, but he prepared for this one. So the only way that can happen is if you had played him a little bit more, maybe in the previous game. So he comes in, so he can start. He needs to start, right? This game, the way this game started, he needs to start. Experience is key, I think. If you're going to use him the right way, that's what's going to have to happen for him.
Right.
We saw this before. Players sit around, they lose, they play
get
a really
stale.
good game, and then they sit around and then they waste away, and then we expect them to come on after not playing for a bit, and all of a sudden they're going to perform. That doesn't happen too often. Not with the older, not unless they're like El Nenny's the only one that can do it, but that's because he was healthy. He never was injured and wasn't getting injured periodically when he was playing for us, right? Most of these old guys, I think you need to prime them. He didn't do that. He came in flat in a game that, look, you saw that game, right? We've seen him come on for us, right, in the North London Derby, and how did he do there, right? This is not something new,
Rusty.
right?
Yeah.
Right? I think he has to start in the big games because he's got the experience, and maybe things will turn out different. I don't know, but I just kind of felt like that was one thing we should have done. He should play in the big games for us, and if he needs to be primed for that, meaning he gets game minutes beforehand, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But just to come in late in the game he should have come in at halftime, But no,
Yeah.
he comes in late in the game, and then you expected him to get into the flow of the game immediately. I think you're asking a lot out of him. So I think that's a big challenge there. So for me, that's kind of where I felt with that one. But like I said, we've seen this before, right? Arteta is not learning. His team doesn't come out ready to play. Like, how do you go 21-2 in 5 games in terms of goals for and against? Right. And then all of a sudden you come into this game and you can't even muster one shot that the goalkeeper is concerned about. Right. Nah, come on. I know Porto is really good and all of that, but at some point, no. I mean, I don't think that's unacceptable, as Arteta would tell us, right?
How long was it into the game that Rice got booked? I heard he got booked very, very early on the game, right?
2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes.
From I know I never saw the game, but from what I've heard and from what I've seen, I get the feeling that some of the players, or maybe a lot of the players, were overruled by the occasion. A lot of players ain't never been to this. They've never been to this neck of the woods before.
An intimidating place.
And someone said to me that Declan Rice in the lineup looked like he was shitting, he was bricking himself. Someone said just his demeanour, right?
Right.
I think some of these players were overawed, which shows you why he got booked so early. For me, it kind of like
that's why you needed a Jorginho, the only one who's actually legitimately won a Champions League, and actually it was, for me, as far as I'm concerned, has the experience to help out the rest of the team.
Played in the European final as well for his country.
So I kind of felt like that's what everybody keeps talking about. We're a young team. We need experience. Well, your most experienced player sitting on the bench watching the things start, and you're like, no. He should be on the pitch helping these guys get through this.
But they shouldn't be bricking it because they play in international. These players have played in World Cups and Euros. So I'm not taking the excuse about bricking it for a Champions League game.
This is we've seen this, but I hear what you're saying, but we've seen this, and they're not ready. They're not ready, and that starts from the top down. It's not even just the players. Your coach, your manager, he's not ready for this because we see the same thing every time. What's changed from the first time he played in Europe in a knockout round to this one? How did this team come out and play in all of those matches, right? That you sat there screaming at the screen. They looked exactly the same.
Yeah, and look,
that's why I say
that's somebody's interpretation of looking at the players and thinking they're breaking it or whatever. That's your interpretation. It's your opinion.
Yeah.
Yes,
like Arsene Wenger, Arteta does not have a plan B when things aren't working. All that needed to be done was to switch Saka and Martinelli over to the other wings. He's got this. He's stuck in his ways of putting Saka on the right wing. I know what's going to happen when Saka gets the ball. He's going to cut inside every time. He hardly ever uses his right foot. Martinelli, he can run at defenders and take them on. But it wasn't working yesterday at all. He kept getting the ball trapped underneath his foot. and or the defender was marking him out the game. And then with 10 seconds to go of the game, instead of trying to kick it away into touch, when in doubt, kick it out. He try and blast it up to the other side of the pitch and gives it away, which led to their goal.
Now, it was Declan Rice twice and one Martinelli in that sequence of play. So Rice had the opportunity to carry the ball out. He stumbles on the ball. The ball gets cleared to Martinelli. Martinelli tries to pick out somebody very far away from him. The ball is cut out from their defenders into midfield. The player drives forward. Now, Rice also has a second opportunity to show him down the line, and this player, he allows him to come inside onto his right foot. And, for me, Raya has no chance there. His positioning is his positioning. The goalkeeper, I don't know. I don't think you're coached as to where you're supposed to stand in every situation. I've heard people saying, whatever they're telling the goalkeepers to do, he shouldn't be standing there. But the guys curled it outside of Raya's grasp, Raya's reach, and into the corner.
I don't even think Ramsdale could have stopped that.
No.
In all honesty,
no.
I've been online. I've been seeing tweets and posts on Facebook saying that if ever there was an example of why Ramsdale's a better keeper than Raya, then the goal that he let in yesterday, it shows you all, that Ramsdale would have stopped it. I don't think he would have.
No. Now,
Ospina would have stopped it.
To use this goal to reawaken the goalkeeping debate that has settled down the last 2 or 3 months is, nothing short of trying to push your Ramsdale agenda, in my opinion.
I thought it was a great goal, personally. I thought the guy's he's got himself into a situation, and in a split second, he's looked up, he's seen that Raz off his line, and he's gone for it.
Yeah,
it happened to David Seaman.
I thought
David Seaman. It happened.
I thought he
was off his line.
I thought the ball
was off his line, but the player still had a lot to do. He had to see that and go for it, and he did, and everything went well for him. You can't take that away from the goal scorer, I don't think.
Yeah, there's too many things happening in front.
I thought the ball went wide.
Yeah.
I thought the ball had gone wide. It was a good goal.
Yeah, I know there was an incident in the first half. We'll talk about it. I had to watch the replay a few times when he hit the upright and it came back to him, rebounded to him again, and he hit it wide when he should have scored on both occasions. Yeah. Gary, what were you going to jump in?
You just bring up that good point. Like, here we go. You're Declan Rice. That guy had 2 opportunities to score early in the game. Late in the game, you're going to give him space.
Was it the same player, Gary?
Same guy.
Same guy.
I believe it's the same guy.
Okay.
Well, if not, they had the same
doesn't matter
kind of spelling name. I don't know, but I believe he was the one that had an opportunity. But nonetheless, I think too many things happened in front of Raya. Raya, I always say, a lot of times the best goalkeepers are the ones that make that save, right? Right. If that's Allison or Edison, they make that save, right? And they just tip that ball out. One, I guess they're a lot taller.
They're not making that save if they're in the same. They're not making that save if they're in the same starting position as Raya. Yeah. If they're already better placed.
No, but if they're taller, and they have longer arms, if that's what Emmy Martinez with the longer arms,
mate.
I'm just telling you what has to what the goalkeepers have to do.
How long do your arms have to keep that out, man? Come on.
He's not that tall, so he doesn't have that long of an arm reach.
I think he's got this
for me. I think a different dimensional goalkeeper would have been able to tip that out.
No,
especially they're in the same position.
Listen, I've checked on this before. I believe Ramsdale and Raya are the same height. I think they're the same height.
I thought one's 6 feet, one's 6'4". I thought is the difference.
No, I think they've got a similar height, if not exactly the same height. Somebody can fact check me there, but Raya does look deceptively smaller than Ramsdale. Ramsdale is pretty good at shot stopping.
6'1", he's 1 inch
Yeah.
taller.
Okay, an
What-
inch, right?
What worries
a
me?
lot of
What
difference.
worries me is that we were playing against a 41-year-old defender, and we never tested him.
Right.
I mean, he looked like he was 25 again. Nobody ran at him. You know, he marshalled the whole of their defence.
Yeah.
41-year-old.
Right. I'm just gonna watch your beard grow as these podcasts go
Yeah.
on, Lawrence. You know.
Arteta doesn't take
Yeah, well,
advantage.
he's going to cover my face shortly. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Unless Havertz scores a hat trick,
Yeah.
it won't for the remainder of the season. Unless he scores a hat trick in a game, it's going to be my whole face.
Yeah, you must really like your beard because that's an
You
easy
really
bet. That's an
back
easy
to
bet
center
to put
corner.
out there because you know that's never going to happen. So
maybe one of the Kardashians like
Yeah.
long beards. You know.
No,
Yeah, there
I
we
was
go.
just going to say that you know what this is where Arsenal and Arteta they don't take advantage of maybe some advantages in the games, right?
Right. Mhm.
Right. You get say you get an early yellow on a player. We never see us just go in there and punish them until we score before they make the switch. Because a lot of times in the second half, late in the second half, they will make that switch because they
Yeah.
realize it's going to be
They
punishing.
realize,
But
yeah.
we need to take advantage of those players that are, being up our players or whatever. When they finally do get that yellow, continue to go at them. And then you know what? Maybe they go out or maybe they give up the play and you get that easy look. But I kind of feel like with Pepe out there, I think anybody who knew anything about football was going to tell you that this is how Pepe is going to play. This is how Porto is going to play. The only people that didn't know it, based on what we saw, was Arteta and his team.
Yeah.
They all went out there like surprised that this is how Porto was going to play, right?
Yeah.
I believe the last time
they're falling on the ground and rolling on the ground and drawing fouls and all this stuff that we've seen this before. Arteta has seen this before. This is not something new. He just doesn't have an answer for it immediately. Like it should be so easy. You see how they're playing, and you make a call to your captain. You say we're changing. We're going to this kind of style of play because guess what? We know this is going to happen. So guess what? Go out there, do your thing, and do this. He doesn't do that. We just keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting it to change.
Yeah, listen, let me get a few comments in here, Stan. I can see you're ready to wind up. Stephen was in here first this evening, and he's not able to be with us, but he is listening. So I wanted to get through some of his comments first, out of respect. Stephen, we were way too one-dimensional. We played the whole match pretty much the way we played in January and before. Not much direct play. We were very slow at moving the ball. There's 2 or 3 of them. They played very high up and dominated us. It was obvious we were in trouble. After 15 minutes, had we attacked them over the top using our speed, it would have forced them to play deeper. So that's an interesting comment. By going over the top, we may have opened up the gap between midfielders and their backline, giving us another avenue of attack. And the last one here, I also think Arteta gave up on winning by halftime, settling for a draw. You cannot do this at this level, especially with a keeper like Raya, who's great with his feet, but not the best shot stopper. So your thoughts on one more from Stephen, actually. Raya's positioning on the goal was again poor. He was too far off the line. He then went after the ball with the wrong hand. It wasn't as bad as the Chelsea goal, but not far off. Never had a chance. So, yeah, maybe that's something that David Raya does need to look at. And I think it's the position of the keeper within the game. I don't think you can be coached into telling a goalkeeper where to stand for any situation in football that's fluid. Stan?
I just think that if Raya's positioning wasn't so bad at that particular moment, when the player looks up, he doesn't take the shot. He takes a shot because he's like, fuck me, this is a gift. He sees him off his line and thinks, I can go for this one.
No, you know why he sees him also, Stan? What does Rice do?
Rice shows him inside.
He just stands there. Doesn't move toward. If Rice moves towards him, guess what? He hesitates for a fraction of a second. Next thing you know, the defender to Rice's left collapses. Guess what? He pushes the ball back. and we never even see the shot. Like Rice needed to, you know what? At that point, Rice needed to just step up, and you know what? He's not going to get a yellow because we had 4 defenders to their 3 attackers. So if Rice, this is the thing, we see this all the time. Arsenal will let the attacker come as far as they want. Early in the game, we see it all the time. I complain about it all the time. This is exactly the same thing we saw late in the game. If Rice steps up a foot, if he steps up he takes 1 step forward, that ball doesn't come out the same clean. It doesn't come out cleanly.
Yeah.
Play goes wide.
Yeah.
All right.
I think what we're saying here, Gary and Stan and Lawrence, is true. Gabriel Martinelli is an attacking player. You should never really trust him to take care of the ball. But Rice is a number 6. You need to trust Rice in this situation to take care of the ball. On 2 occasions, he does not take care of the ball. On the second one, he shows the player inside, and as Gary said, does not close the player down quickly enough. And look, we're all looking at the clock and saying it was 4 minutes of added time, and it's 93 minutes and 40 seconds. The players switched off. The players switched off. As Lawrence said, they were 20 seconds away. They were already having their cup of tea in the dressing room, Lawrence, because the whistle was going to be blown.
Draw. I'm very sorry. That's not the way you play football. I don't know what sport you go out there and you go, you know what? Here we go.
You have a nil-nil.
I got this game plan. It's going to work. It's 100%. It works every time. We go out there.
We get to 93 minutes and Havertz is standing there going, now what did the missus ask me to get on the way home? Eggs, butter, tea bags.
No, but think about it. You don't plan a game to draw, and you know what? You know what I always say, if you shoot for the stars, you hit the moon. You know what? If you're shooting for a draw, guess what? You get smacked in the mouth and you lose on a late goal, right? But if you try to win, worst case scenario is you draw, right?
Well,
we need to be a little bit more aggressive. We're a good enough team to be able to be aggressive and still be able to contain them, and they get nothing. But
things like this are gonna happen in the season. You know.
What led to this goal as well, everyone seems to have forgotten, is Gabriel passing the ball back to Raya when there was no need. You know, he should have played it upfield or played square to Saliba, not play it back to the keeper.
Yeah, but that's probably half.
That's how we play, though.
That's a half minute before
you're asking us to do something we don't do. No,
right?
This is what we do that every time. How many times do you sit there and go, all right, we get the ball at midfield, let's go ahead and turn upfield? You know how many times I was watching the replay in that first half? As many times as we touched the ball near the midline and went back, that's just the way we play. The way he's got us set up is to play out from the back no matter where you are sometimes. Like, there's so many times that you could just, like Rice could have just taken the ball, turned towards the goal, and just dribbled straight up. Nope. The rules are you got to go back, reset from the back line, and we'll try this thing again.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say then? I mean, as good as Rice has been since we've signed him, and he's our record signing, we do expect that for that kind of money and the stature that he's supposed to be, that he's supposed to do better in these moments when we're playing against one of the top 16 teams in Europe. No matter what you think of Porto, they're in the last 16, so they are at the moment one of the best 16 in Europe.
Good point.
And he's made a mistake. It sounds, by the sounds of it, because I didn't watch it, it sounds like he made a key mistake. But as I mentioned before, other than the Europa Confederations Cup, or whatever the fuck it is, the B Cup, he's not been here before. And I do think that club football in Europe is different to international friendlies and competition. Because Danny Welbeck used to look much better in an England shirt than he did in a club shirt, to me.
No, he's an international player, and he played in a cup competition where if you lose a game, you're out of the competition. If you don't win an aggregate, you're out of the competition.
But could there be that kind of like, in the Arsenal bubble, you know, the over-rawness of like everyone's like, fuck, here we are. We're out of the groups. Fuck. We're out of the groups. Here we are now in the last 16, and now it's knockout time, and you know we want to get to that. You know what I'm getting at? And
we should be fancying, the players should be fancying themselves right now. They've got
The
form
last,
draw.
the last time we played Porto at their place, they beat us, right? And then on the return leg, we beat them 5-0, and Nicholas Bentner got a hat trick.
Yeah.
So
I saw that tweet.
you know,
All right.
Yeah.
Is
Brownie
Rice,
said,
are you Rice at 105 mil? Did you buy him for these type of moments?
we're not supporting.
In
Gary,
reality,
Gary,
I don't think he's that type of player, though. That's the
He is.
problem. You just
But-
said he's had one run in an international, in a European event.
club
That's
match competition.
he's had one run. Does he compete for league titles? No.
No.
Has he competed for domestic cup titles? No.
Here's the thing.
Like I understand what
point.
you're saying, but he doesn't have that's why Jorginho
occasion,
and Rice
right?
next to each other. You've got the talent. You got a young talented player
occasion.
next to a senior veteran. Guess what? The midfield's solid. Guess what?
Gary,
When they do all that stuff to Porto was doing, Jorginho's like, I've seen this too many times. I got you. This is how we get it. This is how we figure this thing out, right?
the reason
He's seen it. He's like, dude, this is nothing. I've seen this. But that's what we're missing. So
I
the
reckon some of
105 is because of the talent, not because of the experience.
Some of those players were coming out of the tunnel, right, and thinking to themselves, "Yeah, I've got this." And then as soon as they stood in that line and they heard that the champions, they were like, "Fucking hell, this is the real deal now." Fuck.
Well, these boys are amped up because I can't get a freaking edge in word-wise or word in edgewise.
I'm doing Tony's job tonight.
Yeah, you're doing Tony's job tonight. Gary, the reason why I've been saying we're asking Declan Rice to do too much this season. I've been saying that. We're putting him in the midfield with Odegaard and Havertz, and we're asking him to mop up everything, left and right, centrally. You're exactly right, Gary. Jorginho should have started this game. At least should have come on at halftime and give that solid platform to protect our back four. And Brownie said here, watch the goal again. People haven't even mentioned the possibility of Porto having two guys overlapping, hence why Rice and the other Arsenal defender stood off until he got to the edge of the area. Showed him down the line.
What? Why in the world would you want him to get to the 18? Why would you want him to get to the 18?
But the other thing, Gary, you
just said you're in extra time. You've been playing for a bit of time. You don't know. You may not have been. You're not looking at the clock, but guess what? The closer they get to getting a better shot off.
Look,
why would you want
Noe's in the house. Welcome, Noe.
Yeah.
Show him down the line.
Look, I think that not at that stage in the game. Because why did Martinelli put that ball out there? Because he's thinking we can probably score late here. Well, guess what?
Look,
you know
this is the thing as well. It's halftime, Lawrence. It's halftime in this tie.
Yeah.
You can go in 1-0 down. Well, you have to be careful. You have to be careful when you come out for that second half, though you don't lose a goal in the first 7 to 8 minutes. Yes, it is finally poised, and I will go on and talk about the second leg, but I'm sure Arsenal will come out with a very concerted effort to level the game up at the Emirates and go on to win the game.
Well, they have to now.
So he said, "Don't worry, guys. We'll smash Porto in the second leg." I mean, smash.
Oh yeah, right. If we play like we did last night, no way.
I know. But if we score 3 goals and we end up going through 3-1 on aggregate, is that smashing them? Probably is, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's just like there's got to be a total different approach, you know.
We have to be foot perfect in the second leg as well, Lawrence, and not concede a goal.
Yeah, because like I said, I mean, I don't like spreading negativity, but I can see another Villarreal when we play him next.
Look, I will tell you, I don't like to see results like this because it brings back those, like you said, you had deja vu of Villarreal.
I think we're favourites to win the thing at the bookies.
Olympiacos. Yeah. The price might have altered a little bit, Stan. You know, you might get a better price now after this 1-0 first leg. Where's the legend that is Tony Turner? Yeah, Lawrence wanted him alongside him tonight as well. To prop
Why
up the
is
ranks
everybody
of-
like that
I
guy? I don't see
want-
it.
I wanted to see him and Alonso go at it again.
Oh, see, you like NASCAR. You just want to see the car wreck. You just
The
go
car
into
wreck.
Yeah.
He's like, "Is it raining?" Before the warning flag goes up, you're like laughing. I can see a wreck coming. That's you, isn't it?
Garrett, Tony is edgy. That's why people like Tony. He's edgy.
Tony's
And he comes
edgy,
out-
whatever. He doesn't even know he's edgy.
he's got that. He's got it dripping
Well,
off of him,
I
Garrett.
did
You
have
know
the
what I mean? He
pleasure of
doesn't
having
know.
Tony and Alonso's company on the wrestling podcast earlier.
You did?
I did. And I think
Okay.
Alonso will be putting an appearance at some point this evening.
This
Yeah.
evening, right?
You know, Lonzo is always about.
He is
2 minutes
like
from the
Beetle.
end.
He's like Jeremy Beadle. Watch out, Alonso's about.
He's like
Yeah, I
Candyman.
want
He says his name 3 times and he appears.
I know. Yeah, you don't do that. It's like Beetlejuice, right? Don't say Beetlejuice. I said it twice. I'm not saying it again.
Moss wanted Jorginho in as well, and Jesus. I'm a little bit.
See,
more
look, here's the thing,
reserved
right? Can I just say?
with Jesus.
Okay, sorry. Just getting
Go
back
ahead.
to this, right? When we buy more players and we've got you know when we have a good starting 11 and players on the bench who are competition and can be rotated in, and there's no you don't see a huge drop off. And when we buy a striker, we'll have more variety. I think maybe we'll have that plan B. It does, there'll be some moments where we'll maybe start the game with maybe with a striker on the bench and playing in a false 9. And, Arteta sees that's not working, and he'll look to the bench and see an £80 million striker that he's authorised to come into the club, and he'll have to put his trust in him and change things around. Yeah. Now he's got an excuse, right? He can look at the bench and say to himself, well, Reece Nelson's not one of mine, and Eddie's not one of mine, and I've given them chances, and they're not paying me back. I don't put my faith in them. And I think the youth that are sat on the bench, and especially to have 2 goalkeepers on your bench, tells me that we're short of places. We're short of people for seats.
Injuries.
Otherwise, there's no way you'd have someone like Cole Hine on the bench. Why?
Yeah.
You're trying to be nice to him. He created all those players that you're talking about, right? He like the Reece Nelson and Kedias. Those are his players. He went out and made sure we bought the Fabio Vieiras. Those are all his players. He signed them either to their first or their second contracts, right? So he did it with
Aubameyang, didn't he? He increased Aubameyang's contract, which was quite substantial. Yeah. And then Aubameyang didn't pay him back. He shipped him off.
Yeah, but then I go with he changed the game plan he changed his game plan because then we saw what he really wanted, right? He wanted a Jesus as a lead man up top, right? That's what we saw. For me, that's what I saw because he was happy with Lacazette more than he was with Aubameyang for me.
Stan, you better get on that. Stan, I've just sent you a message to make my point. So.
Now, why is he sending it to you? He's trying to make his. What's that all about? You guys buddies or something?
He needs to persuade Stan.
Stan, don't you? Oh, look.
I didn't know it was that big.
Well, you know what? See, that's the thing. Brownie's takes, man.
Yeah.
So
Brownie's takes, like Tony's takes. Everyone before was saying, keep the same lineup, keep it rolling.
I've been calling for rotation from day one, and you know what? You needed rotation.
Look,
the only way we are gonna make it see through this whole thing called football and actually be successful is if we rotate. If we have team players that we can rotate in and out the lineup, and we don't see a significant drop in the performance. Yeah. Right? We have it in certain positions, not all of them. Right? Nothing behind Saka. Right? Trossard has to play because we have Jesus who's out. Right? Who's behind Saliba and Margulies right now? Nobody.
Why
right? The fact that we have we still have not now. And even Kiwior isn't a good answer for me.
Yes, he is.
The thing is, though, right? As much as we like Trossard, and we do like Trossard,
he's available.
He's so inconsistent for me. He's so
Oh.
fucking inconsistent. It does bug me.
Trossard.
Yeah, I find him
Okay,
inconsistent. I find him very
The
patchy.
corner that came over to him, he had the volley. That's technically very difficult to get on the end of.
I didn't see the
and
game.
keep that down.
I
I
just
saw the
find him-
highlights.
Yeah.
We didn't have
I
many
Nice.
highlights.
find him very. I just find him a little bit inconsistent.
The sample said,
Look-
Ray, here's the first problem. Porto score 1. Arsenal need to score 3. And that's why we need
No,
to be
no,
very
no,
careful.
no. That's wrong. That's wrong.
That
Why?
don't
There's
apply.
no,
What if they
there's
scored?
no away goal rule. There's no away goal
Don't
rule.
apply.
No. The only way we're
It's-
going.
Okay.
The only no. If I can read him
Lawrence is
correctly,
right.
the only way
Wait.
we're winning at home is if we score 3 goals. The reason why he's saying that is because we need that buffer.
Yeah.
Because the way
Well,
that
you
we
don't wanna
play,
go to
we've seen this
penalties,
before,
Lawrence,
right?
right?
We've seen this.
No, but I'm just saying,
games
right?
before.
Yeah.
We've seen
The
we've seen
away-
it
there's
before
no-
in Europe. If we
Yeah,
don't take a
but-
2-goal lead in a knockout round, we're struggling. Right?
Yeah.
The only way we do that is we know they're going to score, right? We know they're going to score, so that's what we do. I mean,
all right,
I don't want it to
so-
be the case, but we see it too many times.
Porto don't travel very well.
Lawrence
Porto
is
do
right.
not
There is
travel
no
very
away
well.
goals.
It's not the away goal; it's the fact that all they
Yeah.
have to do is get 1 goal.
Then we
We
need
have
3.
to get 3, right? That's
Or
the
else we
problem.
get into penalties. You don't want penalties.
Does
So,
anybody
lads,
know? Does anybody know what Porto's qualifying was like? I mean, I've heard that they don't travel very well. How did they get through their group? Did they struggle and just manage it, or did they walk it?
That's
Out of interest.
So which person were you going to say three times? Which person's name were you going to say 3 times?
No, we're not saying the name. No,
Alonso.
don't say it.
Okay.
No.
Alonso.
Okay. Woo.
These
Don't
nuts.
say it again.
Alonso.
Stanley.
These nuts.
These
These
nuts.
nuts. These nuts. That's 3 times.
No. Damn it! I told you.
It's me.
Hey, Tony.
It's
Double
it's
T.
that nut. It's that nut, not these
Double T.
nuts. It's that nut.
You know what? Here's
Coming in double T.
here's
You're
what
here now.
Tell me
Drop
this.
some
Tell me.
punts.
I can't.
Nothing
I'm
to
coming off for a top rope stand.
Oh man.
Stop
No, tell me
Lawrence
this.
wanted to talk to you. Tony, tonight.
Porto at home beat Shakhtar 5-3. So I don't know what
At
that
home.
says about at home.
What about their away
Right.
form?
And then they
Gary?
lost 2-1 on the road to Barcelona. They
Okay.
beat Royal Antwerp 2-0 at home.
Antwerp.
And then
Okay.
they beat them 4-1 on the road.
Ooh.
It's
So,
Antwerp. Come on, it's
And then,
Belgium.
they lost. So they lost to Barcelona twice. Even though Barcelona had a red card, they lost at home to Barcelona.
Okay.
They don't travel well.
And then they lost. Then they beat Shakhtar on the road. So I mean, like Shakhtar and Royal and
What just
Antwerp
brought to Shakhtar
Right.
on the road, Gary?
on the
5-10?
road, they won 3-1.
Okay.
So they I think they did all right. They had 12 points
Yeah. So
plus 7
look,
on the goal difference. They had a better goal difference than Barcelona.
by all accounts, they played a
Scoring
good
goals.
game. They worked the referee, which a lot of teams should do. They work the referee. You get a weak referee, you get in his ear, and you get every call that you can from them. You break up the game, not that it's an excuse for Arsenal, and you hang around in the game, and something happens.
Arsenal was doing all those silly fouls too. It was,
No, and that's the thing. Arsenal tried to play
I
Porto's
didn't watch
game
it, Tony.
as opposed to playing their game. Like how does Shakhtar score 3 goals at Porto? Right?
Different game.
We can't even put the ball between the box.
We didn't play well.
Right.
We didn't play well, Gary.
That's why I'm saying like don't play their style, play our style, man.
Yeah, we did not
That-
play well.
they
And
didn't know what. It's like Arteta didn't have the answer for them staying in the middle. Of
Here
the
he
pitch.
is, Lawrence. He's here.
Oh, the man himself. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
You're losing your credibility with me, Lawrence. With all
The
this,
man,
all
the
this
myth,
Tony
the legend.
love. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Uh,
Wow.
you're jealous then?
Yes. Why is he getting all this love? Look at Tony.
I accept. I accept that Tony
That's why
is the
Gary
biggest draw.
kidnaps me on every Monday night.
Tony is the biggest draw here.
Tony is the myth, the man, and obviously the legend.
the legend. There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Where's your mate Alonso?
Oh.
We'll be
Oh no,
here
he's still working. I think.
Okay.
working in the pits
Yeah.
on the True X crew.
Going in the left circle.
Yeah, look, Olympiacos, the Assemble Cell, Olympiacos, Sporting Villarreal. Apparently, Porto also don't travel well. So it's
That's what I'm
not.
saying. Nothing about what we're about to get into looks any different than any of the other European matches that Arteta's
Yeah.
played at home with a game
Yeah,
on the
But
line.
deja vu.
the problem
Look.
is, Ray, you didn't watch the game. The problem is, if Arsenal presses trying to get the goals, then we're gonna get beat on the counter attacks because we won't have the left back stay in as far back as they did Tuesday.
So they played quite well, Tony. But going by the highlights, right? They put us under a little bit of pressure. They took the onus on themselves to attack us, and we didn't play well at all on the night, right?
The only attack they had was on the counter because we still had like 2/3 of a possession, basically.
Yeah, but they had some decent chances. The fella that hit
Yeah,
the
because
upright.
they were so fat. They were so fast once they get past us.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have had. They
And
should have
I
beat us
understand.
2. They should have beat us 2 or 3-0.
Tony. In the words of Sam Greenwood, nobody gives a fuck. Let's move on. You know, there's something that was said a few times in our previous show. It's an in-joke. It's an in-joke for the rest of the show.
The fella,
But
Go
Stan,
ahead,
don't
Tony.
you think, well, the way it went, we should have got beat by 2? There's like, I don't see any way we would have won the game by the way we were playing.
we weren't
because
playing
they-
well. Yeah.
Because they were doing the counter attacks, and they should have had 2 or 3 goals from that counter attack, especially that one that hit the post. Then he kicks it wide. It just went back to him so fast that he missed
Mhm.
it. That should have
Couldn't
been
adjust.
He
easy.
did an Eddie.
Look,
Sounds like
what
he did
are
an
the
Eddie.
odds of that, Tony? That you're gonna volley a ball onto the upright is gonna come almost perfectly back to you. Yeah,
It was crazy that it
Ask
hit that.
Eddie.
I
He'll
mean,
tell
it
you.
was like dead center of the
Ask Eddie.
post. I mean, the people there thought they scored twice. It was so fast because you
Yeah.
see the net move twice.
I had to watch it a few times. I wasn't sure actually even what happened on the rerun. You know, on the replays. So yeah. Look.
They're attacking Pepe's that give us problems again when we replay them.
Yeah, and Kivior struggled with their winger, right?
No,
So-
Kivior had a good game, I thought.
Okay.
Am I the only one that thought that?
I didn't see the game time.
I think he was out of the bunch. I mean, he did okay.
Right, here we are. You know,
I mean-
we got
I mean,
on the right hand side coming up our left hand side. They were, I mean, he got the yellow right because they were taking him. So I don't. He had a good game all around, but there was a couple
Well,
of
I
like
think 4.
moments
We
where-
had 4
where,
yellows.
you know, they came off
We
that
should
same
always-
side a couple of times.
That
and
was
they
a
could've
smart
put
yellow,
a lot of
though.
pressure on us. No, it was a
should
good
always
one,
bear in
but that
You
know,
should
but it
always
was
bear in mind he's
you know,
playing out of position. Do you know what I mean? It's not his natural position, so we always have to bear that in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky to have someone that can slot in there for me.
Yeah.
With the injuries that we've got.
Just want to ask.
What about
Tony- Go ahead, Lawrence, and I'll ask Tony a
what's
question.
happening with Tomiyasu? Is he
New contract.
back or?
New contract, still injured.
That's very
Samuel
hopeful.
Stewart. Oh,
That's like a
bloody hell,
clickbait
that-
comment right there. New contract,
No,
still injured.
it's been agreed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It comes from who's the top Twitter guy?
Tony, every goal is scored. When you score it, it's a worldie, right? Porto, like, that's a great goal. When you're Arsenal, that's a bad goal to give away. Who are you blaming?
Blaming on what?
Who are you blaming on the goal that Arsenal conceded?
It was Saliba twice.
Saliba.
Where did that name come
Okay.
from? I don't know. That
two, twice. I don't know. Wait, you said twice. How many?
It was
What did
Rice.
he do twice?
Rice twice.
Oh, you said Rice.
Actually, I'm thinking of the one they didn't score when they hit the post. He fucked
No,
up.
No,
the
no.
one they
We're talking about
scored.
the game winner, Tony. The only one that matters in this game.
We got away with the wood. We got away with the upright.
Yeah, but that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, no,
All right.
Tony, focus. Tony, focus.
I
What
don't
goal was scored?
I
You
know.
remember that
I was
goal?
thinking
Let's
of the one that
start
wasn't.
there.
93 minutes and 40
You don't remember that
seconds.
goal?
I don't remember who.
You don't
was in
remember
what
that goal.
position.
There
Got
was
it.
smoke involved, Gary. There was,
How can you not remember the goal? that was the major incident of the game. That it was 90 minutes of nothing.
I think he couldn't see
Lawrence,
the TV.
Lawrence,
seen
you
the
asked
counter.
for Tony? Lawrence, you asked for
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah.
That's Tony.
I think-
Or that's Tony
Stan,
right there.
Dan, I think
I
Tony
seen
could
it
not
on
see
the
the
counter.
TV because of the smoke in the room, right? Had to be-
I did not smoke at the time, right?
He wasn't smoking because he was laid out, passed out. You ever see like those cartoons where the eyes are with the X? That
Homer
was
Simpson.
Tony
Have you ever
laid
seen?
out.
Yeah, you ever seen
No,
Homer Simpson with some drool?
No, I remember
Oh.
where each player was at the time.
All right, so you can't really tell us who's to blame for that goal, okay? Fair enough.
If somebody wants to tweet me the video of it, I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah, Brownie had it because he was showing off. He said there's two players who could have overlapped, and that's why we didn't do well. So
Yeah. Go.
yeah,
go-
and
check it out on YouTube for a quick second there, Tony.
Tony, you're
the
funny.
volume
You're a
down,
funny guy.
with the volume. I never saw it, Gary.
You didn't see what game? Do you watch the game?
I seen the goal. I just don't remember the players.
I know,
That's-
Gary.
You
Gary-
can tell me anything. You'll tell me everything that happened
Gary,
in the shot that didn't go in. But
here's
the
the
one
thing.
that went in, you don't remember it.
Gary, here's the
What's
thing. Tony wants to be Arsenal manager in the future and doesn't want to hurt his hopes of being the manager. So he has to say, "I did not see the incident."
Why
Touch of the
would I
Arsene
give you my
Wenger.
opinion of
Yeah.
the other one?
Ray. Tony's got a touch of the Arsene Wengers. I
Yes.
did not see it.
I did not see it, Tony. I did not see it, the incident. But turn the volume down, Tony. Have a quick look at that. Let me know. Or don't. We'll move on.
We can move on.
Gary,
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 Gary
whatever you
can be-
want to do, he wants to do the
Gary-
opposite of whatever you want to do. I should have used reverse psychology there.
Gary
should be
can
like-
be nice. Send me the link so I can watch it.
If Gary could be nice, Tony, this is how this thing works. This is how the relationship works. I'm sorry, I can't change it. It's the way it works, Tony.
I'm not going to go into free agency on Mondays. Then, if you know, send it to me.
We'll miss you. You're gonna be on. I'll see you on Monday.
Tony, Alonso, Tony, Alonso will pick you up on a free.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long will that last? That'd be like the Kim Kallstrom deal.
You know what? That's what Lawrence wants. He loves that.
We have
Oh
to
my
be.
gosh. Oh,
It'll have to be 20-minute shows because that's how long you
20-minute
want.
shows. They do like 5 minutes, one guy, 5 minutes, another guy, and then in about 10 minutes, it's like, oh no.
All right.
Oh,
Can you imagine Tony and Alonso during a presidential debate in the front of a town hall?
That would be fire
On
That would be
CNN.
fire.
Yeah.
They'd be showing them all on CNN like they were with Trump before. That gave them all the push.
All right.
CNN.
All right,
wrote it
You know what?
there
The
all
one
time.
thing that I,
Yeah.
that I say, and I
Sorry,
say this
yeah.
all the time. Yes, we had a bad game, but guess what, Arsenal? You cannot bring this game into the next one. We can't have a string of losses, a string of poor performances back to back. Not at this point in the season, right? This is not the time, all right? You've
Yeah.
seen it. We've seen it before. We saw it. We saw it at the end of the year. Nah, can't happen. Like whatever. I don't care who he starts. If he has to sit Saka, you know what? He should sit Saka if Saka is not going to bring it. That's where Arteta needs to get. The loyalty is to the badge, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? It's to the win. How do you get that win? I don't care, but make sure you get that win. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and the thing is Porto are going to play exactly the same way because yesterday they were playing like they were the away side.
Yeah.
They suffocated our midfield. They couldn't provide any creativity. Odegaard did absolutely nothing in the game yesterday. I hardly noticed him because he was suffocated because they had two players on him every time.
Lawrence, Gary, and Tony may have seen it. Stan and I didn't see the game, but was this our worst performance of the season?
No.
It ranks there, yes.
It's hard to tell because what is it? Wasn't it the Fulham or the West Ham match that we played?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it ranks down there with the Fulham game.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I think so.
And
As I said, go on. Sorry.
No, and that's the issue with our season so far. We don't have that consistency, it seems. And, I said out of this stretch of games, this was the one game, maybe they were listening to me. This was the one game we could maybe ease off on.
What?
But out of all of
what?
the 9-10 games that we have leading up to
What?
City.
What do you say it again? Tony, listen to this. He's trying to
What was the weather, Ray? Was it rainy?
You have to remember we're playing as one of the top 16 teams in Europe. No matter what you think, they've earned to be where they are.
Yeah.
And again, the teams that we play in the league, they're not there, are they?
Like, let me ask you.
In the Champions League, otherwise.
Stan, can I give you a scenario? I'll put to the other three fellas here as well.
Of course,
Stan.
I do like your scenario.
Okay, we've lost this game. Would you rather lose this game and win on Saturday, or get a decent result yesterday and draw on Saturday against Newcastle? Because we want to keep winning in the league. We got to keep pace with Liverpool.
We're right in the mix.
I'm sorry, but that's a terrible question.
It's not to you. Yes.
No, it's a terrible question. Dude, we're not doing this. You can't take games off.
For me personally, because I've got, obviously, I have family ties to Newcastle, right? So it's always a special game for me. But, even though it's always a special game for me, I always want Arsenal to win. I'm not one of those that's like, oh, well, I'd just like it to be a draw. Fuck that. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I'm a granddad, my great-granddad. And where we are in the league, we're right in the mix. We can't afford to drop any points at the moment in the league. We're still in there, right?
Yeah.
But I suppose the question really is what you're asking me, deep rooted, is if I could choose the league or the Champions League at the end of the season, what would I have? I only have
about
one.
About managing both, really, in my opinion.
But no, really, that's what you're kind of asking because you're giving me choices, right? Do you know what I mean? What if this one happens and that? And so if we get down to the crux of it, and I'm being asked, Stan, if you could only have the league at the end of this season or Champions League, what would you want? For me, it would have to be the Champions League because that just allows us into certain conversations that we can't have with other people at the moment. It means that it's like when you're a golfer, if you win the Masters, you get that green jacket and you're allowed into that special dinner each year. You ain't got one of them green jackets, you don't go in. It's as simple as that. And this is
and you get to park somewhere else, a car park.
There's a bit of prestige, I'm not saying that I take the league lightly, but I've seen us win leagues. I've not seen us. I want us to be one year the best in Europe, so I'd love that to happen.
Right. Okay, here we go, Gary. I know you don't want to take a day off.
No. Here's why I say what I say. If you're,
we know what you're gonna say. Gary's in the.
No, you don't. You don't know what I'm gonna say because I haven't said it yet, Tony.
Get off the fence, Gary.
You don't know what I'm gonna say. No, if you're a track star, and you were told that you might win a gold medal or you might break a world record, but I won't tell you when it's gonna happen. Are you going to take off any races? No, you're going to go 100% every time. And that's how this thing's supposed to work. We went to Dubai. We got you got all rested up for what? The run to finish off this season, right? Every game matters. We know this. You can't drop points. Everybody keeps saying, look, the only way this works is if you keep pace with City. We know they're going to go on a 12, 15, 20 game run, right? The only way. So if that's what if that's what you have to compete with, that's how you should be playing each game. Guess what? We might play terribly, but guess what? They are not going to beat us, the team we're playing. That's what you're seeing from Liverpool. How many poor games have we seen from Liverpool for 80, 90 minutes?
Not many.
And they come out with the points afterwards, right? We're seeing that from City as well, right? City played poorly for them, still came out with the win because guess what? They didn't let up and they didn't give the other team a chance, no matter what, right? That's what they do.
Yep.
We have to be in the same mindset. Not taking games off. If you win it and you've given 110% perfect, you know what? You're gonna have to manage that for the next game. That's what the teams do, that we're chasing with, right? This is the last time you can win the Champions League in this format. You know what? You're gonna have to play the game. So for me, that's why I'm saying you just gotta go 100%, right? And that's why Teta has to rely on somebody else. It can't be the same 11, right? It can't be because no team does it. No team, they have confidence in more than 11 players. You know what? Why are you bringing it? Why you sign Reece Nelson if you can't trust him in any scenario?
Well, I thought he was perfect to come onto that game because he's fast.
He's fresh legs. You get the ball to him in space. Guess what he's going to do with it, right? Yeah. Like, you know what? I think Arteta kills the hunger, though. That guy's been sitting on the sidelines.
We've seen him come off the bench, right, and do something. So we know he's got it in him. Is it a case then that if you get more minutes, it helps that to grow? Do you know what I'm getting at? I mean, you want to
temper that. Right? You want to tease that hunger, right? Yeah. But right now, guess what? He's not hungry anymore.
Look what you're getting out of
He's dying the first here, right?
He's to answer your previous question, you asked about how bad of a game it was. This is worse to be. I think for a team it wasn't, but for Arteta it was definitely probably his worst because he did nothing to change it at halftime. None of the substitutions because we've seen that he won't make substitutions at 60 minutes unless you're up 5.
Yeah, but you know why? Because every time, Tony, he gives someone a chance. I mean, look at Eddie Nketiah, right? He plays against Sheffield, he gets a hat trick, and then he gets a reward, doesn't he? He's allowed to start in the next game. Yeah, that's fair enough. But does he give the manager anything to think about? Does he follow it up with a really good game and continue? Do you know what I mean? Some momentum. He does nothing, and then the manager's just like, sorry, mate, you're out.
He had the chance.
If you have that situation, and it's probably the same with Reece Nelson. When you have that situation, when they're on the bench, then you're reluctant to bring him in because you're like, well, this player, what's he going to give me?
I can't remember him coming on and not playing.
He definitely brings energy. Most of the times I've seen him come out, he gives some energy, which is what you need from your bench when you bring in a player. Yeah. And then maybe that gives those other players that are tired for a second, like, you know what, I can't let him down kind of thing. And they get a little bit of extra energy from it. But you don't play him. Guess what? You never even see it.
He's been...
Eddie Nketiah is Raphael Mead 2.0. And if anyone remembers Raphael Mead, they know what I'm talking about.
Who?
Raphael
Mead.
Raphael Mead?
No.
Mead. No, he was a player. He was he played for Arsenal in the early 80s. Played for Arsenal in the early 80s.
Brownie going after Tony there. You try and stoke the fires, Brownie. Brownie said, Tony, you can't remember the goal yesterday. The one Reece Nelson.
He's going to tell you when Reece Nelson came on. This guy, Tony.
Reece Nelson had a great opportunity against Liverpool in the FA Cup to score in the first couple of minutes. these players have not taken enough of their opportunities when given to them.
Yeah,
Kivior has done well when coming on.
but Ray, if you're an attacker, you have to have momentum and stuff. If you're a striker, you're not going to be on fire if you're only getting in there every once in a while. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And the question sorry, Lawrence, in a second. The question I asked was, would we rather have this second leg to turn things over, or would we rather lose points on
Some
Saturday?
of us just would like to have a second leg.
I know.
Gary acts like he's kidding.
No, hold on. Let me get where's my pen? I want to put
Listen, I just want to say to everyone in the chat box, we don't even charge you lot for this shit, man. So,
Tony,
you know
the
what
legend.
I mean? All for free, man.
This is what Lawrence wanted. He wanted this.
Oh my! This has made my day. I tell you.
No, but top dollar for this shit.
We started out. Lawrence started out with a bit of a rant, Tony, and he's laughing now. So that's what you've done for him.
Oh God! No, but I just want to answer the text that came from the assembled.
Yeah.
Who asked me if I remember Gus Sees the boy?
Of course.
That's another one. Yeah,
I
cost us
remember
Julie Gus Caesar, as I called him. Yeah, cost us the League Cup final against Luton. Yeah, another one.
It's going back a while, that is.
Yeah. 3-2.
Yeah.
3-2
Well, I'm giving my age away.
We were 2-1
Yeah.
up. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, we battered them there. We absolutely battered them. And we missed the penalty that Nigel Winterburn took, which I don't know why he took the penalty, because we had Michael Thomas playing for us, who took penalties at the time.
Alan Smith too.
But Alan Smith, Paul Merson, Perry Groves,
Yeah. Mick Harford smashed Arsenal that game, didn't he? Yeah. Listen, as another one, Arsenal went into it a slight bit of overconfidence, maybe having beaten Liverpool. I think the year before, wasn't it, in the League Cup?
First time Liverpool lost the game when Ian Rush scored in it.
Yeah, that's true. So look, halftime in this leg, Gary, we've got an opportunity to come back in the second leg and play a lot better. That's the big thing. We're going to have another opportunity to play Porto and right those wrongs.
Well, you know what? This is the thing. You're thinking 3 weeks from now?
Yep.
No, this is the problem with that. The thought process. We got to beat Newcastle on the weekend, right? Late game, Saturday night.
We're going there. Yeah, we're going there.
No, but the Porto halftime thing, nah. We don't that's not what the big teams don't have time to think about a game 3 weeks from now. Not if we're talking about competing, right? The only way you compete is if the next game up is the one you focus on. So we need to go into. That's why I'm saying we cannot bring in the previous game into this one.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking. We're not thinking about Porto anymore.
I agree with you.
We can evaluate it as fans and stuff like that, but I don't want to look forward to the Porto game. We got 2 games before that, right? So
I just wanted to put a little bow. I just wanted to put a little bow on the end of the Porto game, and say let's look forward to the second game.
Can I ask a question? Right. Something that really bothers me is why do Arsenal go into a team huddle like the NFL before the game kicks off and the start of the second half? What do they do in the dressing room?
Do you know what they're doing? They're in that huddle and they're going, you know what they're doing? They're in that huddle and they're going, Lawrence fucking hates this. So in a huddle and really wind him up.
Because someone told me it's just a glorified PR stunt. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
It just really irks me when I see the whole Arsenal team in a circle, pretending that they're G'ing each other up, right? Because I know for a fact they're doing that in the dressing room. So why do it on the pitch?
Yeah,
You
it
know,
doesn't make much
get
sense
in
to do it.
position and start the fucking game.
Maybe they're saying, we've heard what the manager had to say, but that sounds like a load of old fucking tosh to me, so we're going to do this.
Let's forget about everything the manager just said and do it our way, right?
Yeah.
You know?
You know what's funny is I feel like that's what happens a lot of times because they always ask Arteta, did you go out there and want to play a certain way? And he's like, no, it's not the way I wanted to play. And you're like, but why are your players doing that? Right?
Yeah.
Why
It's
your
like
players
what
went out there and
Lacazette
played
said
so
they didn't
timid
follow the
yesterday, right?
managers.
And he's like, no, that's not the way we planned this.
Victor from Celtic.
The
Why are
huddle.
they not following your lead, right? He's supposed to be telling them what to do. Like at some point, the team's going to have a crap game. He's going to have to go, that's what I asked him to do, and I screwed up. That's what he's going to have to say. Because I can't, like, every time we watch this, we're like, what is this the way he actually set up his team? This is the mindset that they went into. This is the type of flow that he wanted. It can't be, right? So either they're not listening
You have
to
to
him,
ask
so they
yourself
shouldn't
why
be
they're
playing
not
for
Do you,
it.
listening
reckon
to
do you reckon they're in the huddle, right? And they're going, right, listen, we all need to play really good in this next half because if one of us is shit, we're going to get subbed for fucking Eddie.
Yeah.
So
You're going to get sub for Eddie. And, you know,
If that's
Well,
not incentive
well,
enough,
but-
I don't know what is, man.
But
little
going
point
back,
about this thing here. The
because
assemble
going
says
back, you had
Stefan.
that with Lacazette saying that the team didn't listen to what the manager told them to do.
Yeah.
And
The one time
Lacazette,
your old your memory of the past actually.
and Lacazette
I'll
was
go with
yelling
it.
at
I'll go with it.
The
Lacazette
clouds
was
have
yelling at the
parted.
team to start off the second half.
The assemble says, Stefan, they have many statues of Martin Hayes at the Emirates. They're called dustbins. Well,
damn.
Martin Hayes. Martin Hayes scored that goal up at Middlesbrough. That we would not have won the league if Martin Hayes had not scored leading up
Harsh,
to
man.
Now that you mention it, Ray, I mean, when Terry Neal was manager at Arsenal, there was a famous game against Middlesbrough that we lost 3-0. And he came out with this quote that he said, we were so bad we couldn't beat 11 dustbins.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that. He said that. I remember hearing about it.
That's
the way we played last night. We couldn't have beaten 11 dustbins.
Yeah.
I was saying, is that the affinity with Havertz? Because you know what? Remember that goal he scored in the Champions League final? That's what.
Oh wow! Alert CNN.
Thing is, like, to be fair,
Jesus.
back in them days, right, the dustbins were more
Mark
static.
Speed.
Today they're kind of like they have wheels on them, right? So they're quite mobile. Just saying.
All right, so we're going to transition from Champions League to the weekend. And it just strikes me that Newcastle are going to come in and try to play the same way that Porto played against us. You remember that last year when Newcastle parked the bus for a 0-0 draw?
Yeah, but Porto wasn't parking my butt. They narrowed the middle down.
So it's going to be different than Newcastle.
Listen. Can I
There's
just
a
say before, as
difference
we go into this conversation, right? We can talk about this fixture, but if anyone badmouths Newcastle, you will be put on the list. So
What?
You know,
Tony, be careful.
Well,
Tony's not afraid of such things, Stan.
my great granddaddy will come and haunt you, Tony.
I'm surprised they're 8th. I'm surprised they're where they're at.
I think Bruno Grim.
4th and 5th spot.
Kamara's.
I think Bruno Grimaris is a marked man on Saturday.
Yeah.
Remember the incident where I can't remember who it was. He smacked an Arsenal player on
Jorginho.
Yeah.
Tony likes this. Tony likes Bruno gummy bears.
We should have
Tony?
signed him.
Yeah.
Would you still want
Here's my thing: is why
to sign him?
the only reason why we're always talking about what happened in that Newcastle match, dude. You're supposed to correct that in the match. right? That all we should be equal on terms, right? They shouldn't have
Yeah.
been like at some nah. See, that's the problem. We keep waiting for the next game to fix things. No, fix it now, right? As soon as Grammage did that move and punched, he punched two players basically, right?
Yeah.
Two players he punched essentially, or at least put his hands on.
That's right. The
Nothing
elbow in
happened.
the head.
Nah, that can't happen. You know what? That's where I think that we go wrong here. We let that happen, and now we have to go out there and we're just going to finesse the ball around and punish them that way. Nah, right down their throat, run them right over. You know, where's our? So we're missing that bruiser, all right? Who's the bouncer?
Don't they
Who's the
have a lot?
the
Don't they
bully?
have a lot of key players missing for this game? Apparently, right? They've had a bad injury.
Isak is supposed to be either on the bench or he could even start, but I think he's back. So they have I think they might be injured. But they do have
Is Almiron out?
I do think he's out.
Right to backtrack back to a game.
Mm.
Do you know he looks really good for Newcastle?
Watch any of it?
Yeah, I feel he looks really good for
One
Newcastle.
sec there, Stan. 1 sec, Stan. Tony.
If you rewatch any of it, rewatch for free kick and listen to Gabriel tell them to give him the ball. And he was yelling at him when all three of them were huddled up and they still were reluctant to give it to him. And he almost scored it.
For which game? The Porto game we were talking
The Porto
about?
game. The Porto game. Since
Okay.
you didn't watch any of it.
Tony, when I see there's no shots on target, we lose 1-0, and we didn't play very well. Are you likely to spend 2 hours watching a game that's just going to frustrate you more? Probably
you could
not.
at least watch my extended highlights.
I did do the extended highlights, and it still wasn't very much for Arsenal in that game.
The
Brownie
thing
said
that killed us is that we didn't play with a tempo we've been playing with. We played slow, and that worked right into them because if we would give a ball away, then they were away every time.
Stan is correct. They may not be. I don't know what Porto would be an equivalent to. They may be a Newcastle in the Premier League. They may be a Man United in the Premier League, but they're still in the top 16 in Europe, and they won their group, or they came second in their group. So they've been playing in Europe for a while. It's still no excuse. We should have taken care of business against Porto.
It's weird that we just never play good in Portugal. It's weird.
And look, you've got teams like Liverpool and Man City go to Porto and take care of business. And until Arsenal go and do that, we won't be respected by other fans, rival fans, And it looks bad on Arsenal. You can't go to Porto and take care of business. We played for a draw. When you play for a draw, you don't get a draw sometimes as well. I feel like we played for a draw. I didn't see the highlights. And Brownie's saying Arsenal do have a soft underbelly at times, especially up front for me. I think we've done a lot in recent years to turn that moniker around, of having a soft underbelly.
I do. I think that's kind of gone now. But I was just going back to Newcastle because we kind of where we were. There is one of the players for Newcastle for me who I think is dangerous, and that's obviously going to be a compliment, and that's Anthony Gordon, who for me should be definitely part of the England squad. I think in the last match that they played, he because of their injuries, he had to change position and play through the middle, which is not. He usually plays from the left, but I think he played through the middle, and he had a very decent game. Very good player, young lad.
Yep.
Yeah, Almiron is slated to start, so he's back. But Isak and Willock are like maybes. And what is it? Nick Pope, Matt Targent, Joe Linton, and Elliot Anderson are out. So Fabian Scar is taking part in is practicing. So
fitness test, right?
Yeah.
Lee Samuel said doesn't understand what Arsenal's doing with 70% of the ball, no shots on target. Man City used to be really, really boring in the last.
We like the 70s, right? What is it? 73 touches in the box, no goals. Now we got 70% possession. We can't even put the ball on target.
All this possession and no content, no
And-
end product.
And nine corners and nothing from any of them.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing. There was a time where we would play a short corner, just to spice things up. Now they don't do it. They just lump it into the box with Ben White bullying the goalkeeper every
You know what?
time.
That was the most entertaining thing about the game.
Everybody
You
just kept
if-
falling down in the box.
If you watch those corners,
You'd have
Ben
like
White
literally,
and whoever
you'd
that
have
player
like
is, they go back and forth. Either one of them was on the ground, on every other corner. Like one of them.
right,
Like I said, that was the most entertaining thing about the game.
right. You would end up with 8 to 10 guys inside the net on almost all those corners.
Yeah,
If
and
you want to
look,
be entertained, just laugh. Just watch the corners and laugh. 'Cause
it had to be a deliberate Arsenal ploy as well.
they only switched it up like 3 times. But
Yeah.
Dorian Torres.
Dorian Tor,
yeah.
welcome. This is a late stream, LOL. Hey, we're shouting for Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. When they play, it won't be this weekend, but they'll play Liverpool next weekend.
Are you going to be rooting for Liverpool, right?
No,
That's what I was asking.
I've turned my allegiances 100% back to Arsenal.
100% back. See, when that means he was lying to us.
I'm lying to you now.
Okay.
He's downright
I can just say to
There you go.
Doran Tor, who's joined
Doran.
us.
Yeah.
Doran Tor, who's joined us. Let us know where you're from. We do this at this time every Thursday. If this is your first time joining us, I think
Yeah.
it is your first time.
Nottingham Forest. He's a Nottingham Forest YouTuber, so
Okay,
good to see
welcome.
you. Yeah. Coming from the east coast of the States here. And Lawrence on the west coast, Stan in Canada, Tony's from Okie,
I'm in the central.
Gary's from New Jersey. Lawrence, do you remember Wimbledon with Vinny and Fashtabash? Yep, that's all they did.
Yeah, I do.
Pieces.
I do indeed. The Crazy Gang.
They had a way
Dennis
to
Wise.
play. Yeah. It would have been
Dennis
fun.
Wise. Nigel.
Would have been
Yeah.
fun if they came to Dublin. I was living in Dublin at the time,
Yeah. What happened? Well, I mean, I know it
Winterburn.
fell through, but
Sam
yeah,
Hammond.
Winterburn was at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you from?
So coming back to Newcastle a little bit, Eddie Howe's under a little bit of pressure. The recent games have not been great. They drew 2-2 with Bournemouth, and Bournemouth entertained Man City before we play Newcastle. So we'll know what Bournemouth have done with Man City before we kick off. But Man City, sooner or later, they will start grinding the gears into engineering 3 points after 3 points after 3 points. That's why them dropping points against Chelsea last weekend was very important. They did beat Newcastle did beat Nottingham Forest 3-2 last weekend. And before that, they drew 4-4 to Luton Town. So Newcastle have not been in the best of form.
They're blowing hot and cold, aren't they? They're blowing hot and cold. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They've still got
Yeah, I
wins
think
in them.
that
They've got goals in them, but they're not reliable. They're very hot and cold.
No,
I think they're suffering from a Champions League hangover.
Mm-hmm. And Eddie Howe's probably not long for that managerial job.
You can't go from where they were, where you're like fighting relegation, all of a sudden you're in the Champions League, and then expect it to work without like actually putting in some solid players. Right, they've had some injuries. They've had a lot of injuries, but I think they needed to improve the quality of the players that they had. Anyways, that's what everybody thought with all the money they supposedly had, right?
But in order for them to bring
that's what we thought, though. Yeah,
they would have had to sold a main player, and then you're weakening the team, right? So do you know, getting that they got all the money, but these stupid rules have ham-fisted them. I can't blame the manager for that.
Yeah,
Plus injuries.
that's why I'm saying it's probably not on the managers. Just like. That's why at least
Can't
for
throw it
Arsenal,
though,
they
innit?
kind of were able to grow into this thing of playing extra games in midweek, right? Even though we didn't use it the right way. I mean, when we played in Europa League, we didn't treat it like it was a Champions League match, right? We just treated it like it was just another match for other players to play, you know. And now all of a sudden we want them to play midweek and then also have to play on the weekend. And Arteta's probably looking at it going, "We're not prepared for this." Well, that's what the Europa League was for, you know. You had the chance to figure this thing out, but he doesn't use the time, the things that he has in front of him. He waits for the next year. It's like, you know. So, like I said, next week, this next week on Saturday, there should be no remnants of what happened in the midweek.
Yeah.
These players need to come out confident that they're going to smash them, you know, and do it early and often, and then come off the pitch at halftime for some of them. That's what I'm waiting for, that day. We go out there, we just smash them in early, you know, we score early like we did, you know, against West Ham, but then we finish them off by halftime. Right?
It'll be important for the fan base. It'll be important for the team, important for the city and Liverpool to see if this Porto game was an anomaly and we played badly for one game and we come back to the Premier League, play Newcastle. It'll be at home, an evening game at the Emirates. So there's really no excuse to say the home atmosphere will not be there, because it will be there for the Arsenal team to face up to Newcastle. And Tony, revenge for what happened up there at St. James's Park.
Yeah, I'm surprised Gabrielle didn't do something there. But it's definitely.
Gabrielle didn't do something there?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
Was he even in the game? That's what I don't remember.
Which Gabriel are you talking about?
Go again.
The center back.
Tony, what
Center
nonsense?
back.
Right,
are you talking about now?
we're doing
The
it
center
again.
back.
He's
Which
doing
one?
it on purpose now. He's got to be.
No, not.
At Newcastle. Which, you mean, I think all three Gabriels played at Newcastle, right? Magalhaes, Jesus, and Martinelli.
Center back, Ray.
I think he's talking about the goal Newcastle scored
Yeah.
when
No, I
Joe
was talking
Linton
about.
jumped at. No, you're not talking about the goal.
Alonso, get in here. You got the link.
Here we go again.
Yeah, there's a song, right? Here we go again. Here we go again.
Here we
Yeah.
go again.
This is Tony.
Oh. Yeah. All right. So what was amusing about Gabrielle, Tony? Come on. Hold it together.
No, I just didn't know if he was playing in the game or not, since he didn't play.
Somebody's sending a link of the goal Newcastle scored against us.
Are you saying the guy who Joe Linton had two hands on the back of? Is that the guy you're talking about, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Gabrielle you're
Can I
talking
ask-
about? Like, oh, it's singer Gabrielle. I get it. I don't know that guy.
Can I ask, right, of all this money that Newcastle has at their disposal, at some point, are they going to be able to start spending like City have and how Chelsea have?
They have
I think if they get
financial
knocked out of
No,
Champions League position,
no,
I don't think, will they be right back to where they started?
They
They don't have the revenue to offset what they're spending.
Their director of football is being earmarked to go to Manchester United. So Manchester United are getting their act together, right, Lawrence?
Yeah.
They're up against Newcastle. They're up against financial fair play. There's not a lot that they can do as well. They probably have to sell before they can buy any players in the summer. So
When is the decision on Everton going to be made? I heard it was going to be this week.
never mind that. What about City?
Yeah, 115.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them get out of that. If they don't relegate them to the Northern Premier League and take away all their titles, there's no justice.
They need to go to the Chinese league so that Sam Greenwood can keep tabs with them.
In fact, they should
what's-
just like turn the stadium into like a huge Montessori school.
Yeah. What's up with Rio Ferdinand? Yeah. What's up with Rio Ferdinand? Exactly. Everton by the end of the month says our football source, Brownie. Newcastle surely got more revenue than City. Yeah, they've got the revenue, but they can't. They're afraid to
Can't
do
spend
anything
it.
improper.
They can't spend it
Yeah,
because they'll go over financial fair play with it.
yeah. So they need to build a stadium. They need to
So,
sponsor
wait,
a
how do they have
school
the
in
revenue if they
Rwanda.
can't
Turn
spend?
the
I don't get it.
stadium into a huge marketplace where they sell Moody Levi's and fucking Snidestone Island jackets.
That's where we are, Gary. That's where we
And
are.
I don't get these rules.
I-
How can they have the
as-
revenue but they don't have the ability to spend it? Like they need more revenue, is what you're
It's
saying.
they have
right?
to. It's within their own means of their revenue, sustainable revenue over 3 years. So it's got to be legitimate footballing avenues.
But
Legitimate.
if you've got your
Legitimate.
eye on a player that's worth 100 million, and to make way you sell a player for 40 million, does that mean that you can only buy another player for 40 million on a similar wage structure? Or do you know what I'm getting at? How do you increase? How do you improve? How do you build on the players that you have? Example with us, Kieran Tierney took us so far, and then the manager deemed that the way that we played and the way that we're moving and growing, that he's no longer got a place. So how do you do that if you're Newcastle? You see that guy. I want to buy that guy. It's worth 100 million. We got the money. Who am I going to sell?
Well,
I got to
you
sell
gotta-
someone.
you
It's
gotta
stuck in that 20 to 40 million range.
You have to
Where
sell
they're
some
stuck
players for profit, sell to be able to bring in, and it's a rolling 3-year band limit. And
Isn't it crazy that you have $400 billion and you can't sign players? Just
yeah,
which is a good thing.
Well, I think
I
it's a
still
good
don't
thing,
know what-
Tony. I think
I
it's a
don't know
good thing
what
for the
I
league.
don't think the FA should ever allow them to buy them, but that's a different story.
Yeah,
Well,
Because
they opened the
that's
gate, right,
80%.
Gary?
That's 80% of the whole wealth of the league is in
but
Newcastle.
then that means then they should not. Then City should be sold. Then right? City should be released of its
City
ownership.
has 22 million.
No, it
22
doesn't matter.
million
The only
versus
reason why you're
440.
doing it, were you doing it because of the money, or are you doing it because of where they're coming from, where the owners are from, right?
They don't have money on it.
Doesn't
Jeez.
matter. It shouldn't matter about the money, right?
Yeah,
They
but
have
what
rules.
Brownie's saying, sorry, is that
Yeah.
only if the buying club would agree to that structure. If they've got a player sitting there that's got a buyout clause of 100 million and someone activates it, surely, depending on where they are in their level, they might want at least maybe 8 of that up front. So they can continue so they can really, improve their squad. What's 20 million going to do? What's in a scheme of things, you move on that one player for 100 million, but it's spread over that sort of level. What's 20 million really going to do for that club? Not a lot.
They may be
Nothing.
so they may be able to do that for 2 or 3 players, Stan, and then have the room to do something similar to buy a player in for 20 million per season. So it's almost like you're swapping one out for another player.
If you swap a player out, ideally it's because you've got someone that's coming in that's better. And if they're coming in and they're better, i.e. an upgrade, it's going to cost more. So I'm getting at. Otherwise you stay with what you've got, don't you?
Well, yeah, exactly. And Michael, you could be right. We could still be paying for Pepe. I think it was 12 million a year over 5 years. On the spreadsheet, the buy-in figure is spread over the contract offered. Yeah, exactly. So, but Lawrence, is Eddie Howe under threat of his job?
I think so, yeah. After what they did last season,
Yeah.
I think.
Expectation.
I mean, I would love to see Newcastle win the FA Cup this year, because I know a lot of Newcastle fans out here.
Yeah.
And their passion for their team is so immense.
Yeah.
It's been a while since they won anything. I would love to see Newcastle win a trophy this season. I mean, they're still in the FA Cup. I don't know who they got in the next round, but I would love to see Newcastle lift a trophy this season.
Yep. I don't think I'll be able to tell you in a second. Tony, anything else on Newcastle for Saturday? Listen, it's a game we have to win. It's going to be a Saturday night game, so the atmosphere should be there from the stands, and the players need to pick up on this and follow suit from what Liverpool did at the midweek here, beating Luton Town 4-1, following along from what Man City did against Brentford at home, winning 1-0 through Erling Haaland.
We're basically at the point that we can't lose any games because can't lose against Porto. So that's not there. Then there's no room for error because I don't see Liverpool dropping many. City's caught up. They don't have any games in hand anymore. They're still kind of like us, a little hot and cold at times. But
yeah. A lot of people say Liverpool have an easier run in, but the next two games are going to be key for Liverpool against Nottingham Forest away from home and City at Anfield as well would be a key game. It's that City game, that Liverpool City game at Anfield will have a lot to say for where the Premier League goes, and someone's going to have to drop points somewhere, and Arsenal need to be there in order to take advantage of that situation. If City drop 3 points and Liverpool win, we got to keep lockstep with Liverpool. If it's a draw, we can close up on both of the teams. And Stan, I know you mentioned beating or winning the Champions League would be brilliant, but it would be a big achievement to beat City and Liverpool to the league this season as well.
It goes without saying, of course it does. There are, we seem to be keeping in the mix with them. We've been able to beat both of those teams this season. But for me, it kind of, if you can beat those those two teams in the season, then you go and drop points at stupid other fixtures, it kind of like undoes the good work for me.
Yep.
We used to have a reputation where we could go toe to toe with the big teams, maybe not win, but give a good account of ourselves. Draws, come away with a loss, but we played well, and then we go and lose the following week to a team that we should be able to get 3 points out of. And I'm hoping we're over that now, and I think our league position kind of shows that we have. But we still, we can't go invincible every season. I know that we're going to lose games. Man City, as good as they are, they've lost games this season. They've lost games that they should have lost. So it happens. This is football, right? This is football.
For as good as City have been over a long time, they've not been invincible in any of their seasons that they've won the league. And Lawrence, Newcastle will be playing Blackburn at Ewood Park on Tuesday, next Tuesday. It is.
Yeah, I think that will be a draw, and they'll take them back up to St James's.
Right. For Arsenal to take advantage of City and Liverpool, we got to do it in these next 4 games. Newcastle being the first one at home, Sheffield United away, Brentford at home, Chelsea at home, leading up to that City game. Because City will play Bournemouth away this weekend, Man United at home, Liverpool away, and Brighton away before they face us. So City have a very difficult set of fixtures before they face Arsenal as well. We have more winnable games leading up to the City game. They could drop points against Liverpool or Brighton or even Man United, although it is Man City,
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I mean, if Man United can get a result at City, because then that'll put pressure on them when they play us.
Don't see it.
Yep. That's not going to be an easy game. But as you said, we've got a nice set of fixtures coming up where we should. I'm going to paraphrase that. Should.
Yep.
Pick up maximum points. And if we don't, then it's our own fault.
Yep.
And you definitely have to put should on it playing Newcastle because 2 years ago, leading a race against Spurs, we show up at Newcastle and much the worst Arsenal performance I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you had it all to play for, and they didn't show up at all that game.
Yeah, I mean, City played Bournemouth away, Man United at home, Liverpool away, Brighton away before they face us at the Etihad. That's it. That's City. I mean, Liverpool play Forest away, then City at home, and they have to go to Goodison Park as well, which traditionally could be a difficult game for them as well. But outside of if we don't have a lead if we don't have a lead in this league by the time that we face City after these next 4 games, it's going to be very difficult to claw back any of that ground. So
That's why I'm saying it's just a 1-game season for us. Each game is a final for us. So you need to fight for those 3 points the best we can. So we can't really think too far ahead than Newcastle. And in Newcastle, we are good at retaliating after we've got punished. They got one on us the last match. We need to return the favor. We've been pretty good about that in most games. Outside of Fulham, which Fulham is our Burnley from years ago, right? We just couldn't get a point off of Fulham this year, and we couldn't get points off of Burnley years ago. So but we're over that now. We need to respond to every game we play now. Newcastle's next up.
yeah,
They took 3 points from us. We need to take them back, right? Nobody's gonna remember the last one if we everybody remembers. Going into that West Ham game, they're like, even if they win 1-0, it doesn't matter, right? Because West Ham had beaten them twice. Does anybody think right now? I don't think anybody's thinking about West Ham's 2 wins against us. Right, that's how it needs to be when we come out of this Newcastle. Not thinking about that 1 goal win that they stole from us. They're talking about the way that we just finished them off. That's how we need to respond, right?
And as Stan said, we've dropped some crazy points this season to Aston Villa, where we played really well. Newcastle, should have just maybe got a point out of that game. We didn't produce anything, but didn't deserve to lose either. Dropping points at home to Fulham and away to Fulham will be, the points we probably will go begging, unless we overcome and beat teams like Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United. Those teams that are 5th to 8th place will decide this league for us, I think, because they're the tricky ones. We got to go away to Tottenham, away to Man United, away to Brighton, places like that, on the run in. But
you went to Anfield, right? I could have said we had a chance to maybe win in that one.
Yeah.
Right. And that's 2 seasons in a row back to back. So the whole mentality of going on the road, I think we we know we can play on the road. Right. Went to West Ham. Right. So
definitely, Gary. The metrics I cling to are the ones where we have the best goals against record. We have the ability to dominate games and keep possession in a lot of games and minimize. People say David Raya hasn't saved us in a game. David Raya hasn't maybe needed to save us in too many games because you don't see too many shots against us anymore.
Has it cost us in a game?
But I mean, arguably, you could blame him for the Newcastle goal as well.
What, the Chelsea goal? Remember the second Chelsea goal?
Chelsea
where he was out of position.
Yeah.
And Mudryk took the ball over him.
I'm willing to say that was a bit of a freak shot from Mudryk. You know what I mean? In my opinion. But the Newcastle game,
the real
based on Mudryk's form and the way he's been playing, you think he could do that again?
No, the real question is. The real question is, did Tony see that goal?
The Mudryk goal. Tony's like, really? I didn't ask for this. Tony's saying to himself. Mudryk, will Mudryk score in the Carabao Cup final on Sunday as well? You know, that's the real question. Anything else to talk about for the Newcastle game? We could skip to the Carabao Cup real quick and get out of here. Stan, Gary, Tony.
No, only that my great grandfather is still the most decorated player in the history of Newcastle United. So,
Yeah,
really
You know what? I think it's going to be another. I think it's going to be another boring draw, and it'll go to penalties again, like the last 2 times they played each other in the final.
yeah. Chelsea and Liverpool, they seem to have that ability to put everybody to sleep and go to penalties after extra time. You know,
They should have one of them government health warning signs on the screen before the game kicks off. Watching this game can make you feel drowsy.
yeah. Who do you think's going to win the game? I think Chelsea have improved a lot in the last few games. I think Chelsea could give them a tough game.
Well, they've got a lot of injuries, Liverpool, haven't they?
Yeah, they do.
So
But they still keep chugging along, which is, you know.
Thing is with Liverpool though, they seem to have players that come in and you don't see a noticeable drop off. For example, that young lad Bradley, who's coming for Trent Alexander. He looks like he's been playing for ages.
Yep.
Doesn't he? You're like, where's this guy come from?
It's because they actually play games, though. They're played in the cups. Our academy players aren't played in the cups anymore. So
I hate
makes a
that
difference.
they keep getting these trips to nice places and then they just sit around and never even get their jersey dirty. Right? It just basically take their jersey off of them, put it back in the bag, and then save it for the next game because it's not used. I mean, what's the point? I mean, like, what's the point?
Comes home to his mom.
One we had. It's just it's a waste of those players. Those players need play. Let them play some football, and don't have them go on these field trips. They're just field trips, right? Where they don't learn anything. I don't think they're learning anything by sitting there watching us.
No, they're learning how to get on and off of a coach. So,
damn it!
No?
Yes, you don't want a trip getting off the coach because you know that'll end your day. You won't get to play. Got it.
Apparently, I heard that when they left the match the other day, and one of the players actually slipped getting onto the coach, and the referee ran out, booked him, and gave Porto a free kick.
Yeah, that happened.
I thought all the fouls in that game were soft, and all the cards were soft. Both sides.
Yeah. So look, you're not going to get a similar referee in this next game. You know, we're going to come.
Has it really mattered? It doesn't matter. When's
3 weeks away?
We played in Europe. We played against a team in Europe. We played at home. Did you really feel like the calls were going our way?
No.
The calls were being like, okay, we're gonna get the proper. No, it's the same kind of style that we see, no matter where they played. We just don't want to change and adhere to the way that football is played in Europe.
And talking about change, when you have 5 substitutes, making one is asinine.
Yeah.
So now you run those players to the ground. Emotionally, they're beat, and now they're going to have to go out and play against a Newcastle team. You know,
where you're going to have to feed off the emotion of the Emirates crowd on a Saturday night who've had a few beers to start the evening off, right, Lawrence? They got a few beers. You know, 6 o'clock leading up to 7:30. Get into the stadium for the 8 o'clock game.
Why is it kicking off so late?
Because we played in the Champions League.
All right. Because of the Champions League. But it's okay, right? You get to see a game at noon, right? Your time. Stan, you'll be able to see the game too.
Right? Cracking, I know.
You can actually go to the pub.
That.
You can go watch it at the pub, stand and drink.
Well, no, because I'm going to probably be watching Elimination Chamber at 2 a.m. till probably 4 in the morning with that little reprobate below me. With that little reprobate below me. And then I can get the
Can
missus
you
will
put
be going
him in the
to-
elimination chamber?
I'd fucking love to put Tony in the elimination chamber.
Hey, your line's just fogged up, just like Tony's.
That's how
uh,
Stan stays up late.
That's what it looked
get-
like for Tony when
get-
that guy scored against Arsenal in the
Get a
midweek.
bit of shut out and hopefully
We got Lawrence again. We got Lawrence going again.
I was just so pissed off. I just didn't pay attention to the position of the players there.
Guy remembers
I did
like
bother.
nonsense, but like
I can just
like
see
you
Why
can't
is
remember.
it, why is it nonsense to know
I
where
can
they
just see
were?
Tony. Hold on. I can just see Tony
goal
sat
they-
in elimination pod. I can see Tony sat in one of the elimination pods in his wheelchair, and the lights are flashing. He's thinking, "Is it me? Is it me?" And it's like, "No, it's someone else." He's like, "Oh, next time." And he's waiting to get out there to get Randy Orton.
To get RKO'd by Randy Orton like everybody else.
Tiger and Gunnar said Chelsea will win and have a season like Man United have.
Stan, did you see
Could be.
I think
Got a
if
cup.
Chelsea wins, that's not. I don't think it's good.
did you see one of
Right.
Randy RKO and all the
We'll come
females?
back to that, Gary.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, especially me. What are you talking about, Tony?
And if you're watching in Germany, it's not called the Elimination Chamber.
It's called something in German.
Yeah.
Right.
No shit.
Tony, come on.
It's No Escape is what it's called in Germany.
Okay. I'm glad he didn't.
I know. You know what? Everybody was sitting there on pins
Man,
and
you're thinking the
needles
same
going,
thing.
Tony, please.
I ain't saying shit.
The lawyer,
Don't
Stan
do
has
it.
got his pen out and he's got he's dialing the phone numbers like 9-1. Do I need to hit that other one just in case? You know?
Gary, you said it's bad for football if Chelsea win.
I
on
don't think we
Sunday.
need that. You know how many? Think about this: Manchester United and Arsenal both gave them what 100 mil plus this year.
Okay.
For what? They don't need any help, but like I said, if they get the win, I think that will be helpful for them. Like because they have talented players. They just the key ones have been somewhat injured and they haven't figured it out yet. So like I said, I think it would be like they need to get punished. Like we need to be laughing at them because they go in and it's 4-0
They
at
already got
halftime.
punished by the British government.
No, they
picking
did
their
not get
new
punished
owner.
enough. No,
It's one
you
of
can't
those
get
ones-
you can't get punished enough, like I said, and then Arsenal turn around and give you 65 mil for a oh wait,
Yeah,
you know what? He scored in the Champions League. I'm sorry now.
But
We're
going
seeing
back to
flashes,
where
though,
Ray,
Gary. We're seeing flashes
Ray,
of Havertz.
No, you know
Ray,
what?
when
We're
you were
not
talking
seeing what
about-
we got for 65. We might get it next year, but I didn't want to wait.
yeah, but
That's
I
a
wanted
long
to
going
wait.
back
I
to
didn't
what
wanna wait.
Ray was talking about, all the losses. If we were clinical in any of those games, we'd be nice and safe in first.
Yeah.
But instead, we spent $65 million on a luxury signing that we didn't need to make.
Yeah.
We
That's a
needed
good question.
Tony.
we needed strikers.
Michael.
We had
Tony,
one striker
if my
on the
aunt, Tony, if my auntie had a pair of balls, she'd be my uncle.
team. I know, but still.
All right, Michael has a good question in here. Who's finishing fourth? I'm going to say Man United. They seem to be putting a run together. Man United.
I want Villa just because I want to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, I want chaos. The only way you're gonna get chaos is if Villa is fourth. Think about it.
Yeah.
Chelsea and Manchester United are
On
not
the
in the Champions League. Come
Yeah.
on. I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want like, I want chaos. Sorry.
The famous Unai Emery collapse could happen though this back end of the season.
I want
Yeah, go ahead.
I want Tottenham to go to Kazakhstan in the Europa Conference League next season.
Clinical. There's that stupid word again. Alonso, come on. Come on in, Alonso. There's room.
No, you know what? We don't have. I don't have enough fire extinguishers for the blaze. So I just you know what? We just had to put them in the shop. So
Ray, do you know why
please do not
do you know why he
set a
can't
fire to this show. This show's
Well,
been going
Tony.
fine.
He's trying to memorize that Gabrielle chant that he should know.
Yeah.
It's funny he didn't figure out why I asked him that question.
Yeah, well,
Because he thought
because
Gabrielle was a horrible.
he didn't like Gabrielle, but now he does. Stan, who's getting 4th place?
Ooh, tough one, that isn't it?
Never heard
Villa,
of them.
mate. I'd like Villa to get. I'd like Villa to get it.
Oof. Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it
Villa,
all-
but what does your head say? Your heart says
The
Villa.
man gives you an answer and you tell him that you're wrong.
He said he'd like Villa to get it. That's
No, you
not.
can't be telling him to change in his mind.
That's not a
That's
prediction.
we need a witness, Ray. We need a witness.
I'm going to stick
Okay.
with Villa because I'm going to stick with Villa because the other alternative is a name that I just don't even want to mention at this time.
Okay. Michael also said no European money for Chelsea and Man United, please. Tony, who's getting 4th place?
We want Villa, right?
Yeah. Gary, did I ask you? You want?
I told you I want chaos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Villa.
You want Villa in there? Yeah. Listen, I think we all
Chaos
want. We're all unanimous. We're all unanimous in wanting Aston Villa to get
No,
there.
you know what? There could be a fight for top 3 and a fight for 4th, right? I mean, it should be interesting. No game, no team. None of these games are going to be like, you know what? There's nothing to play for, even if it's a team at the bottom of the table, right? They're all going to want to get those points. So, you know, every time we see Everton squeeze one out late in the season, right? Right. So,
Squeeze one out.
So, like when we played them last, we played them the last time, right? They didn't even have to win, and they were like celebrating, right? So that's we can't be having that. So
I'd love to see Everton get. I was just saying, I'd love to see Everton get relegated.
Relegated, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Listen, I think it would be harsh on them. I know they've been improper in terms of their dealings, but yeah, maybe I just feel a little bit more that Man City should be dealt with as well than Nottingham Forest and
definitely with you on
Everton.
That one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't disagree on that one. I need Villa to be in the fight as well because Liverpool go to Aston Villa on the penultimate weekend of the Premier League as well. And that would be, we need Villa fighting for top 4 against Liverpool, who will probably be still in the hunt.
They play Manchester City the week after us.
Villa does? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But they go to the Etihad, which, quells any hope that I would have, And Aston Villa beat Man City as well. All right, we're almost done here. A little quick word about Tommy Tickle as well.
That's what I was about ready to bring up. But
oh, yeah, and
about
Stan, you got
Tickle.
something as well, right? So let's take
Oh
care of
yeah.
that.
There was something
We'll come back to Tommy Tickle. Yeah, Stan.
I was listening.
Format
I was
of the
listening.
league. Yeah.
I was listening on the radio the other day on Talk Sport, and I had a guy on there who was talking about NFL, and they were talking about Premier League, and they were talking about how is the Super Bowl the biggest thing. But the thing that I took away from the conversation was the American guy was talking about how he, as much as he loves the Premier League, he was really surprised that we don't, to win the Premier League title, it doesn't go into a playoff near the end. He understands that we have a tradition and that, you play 38 games and the team that has the most points, they're the winner. He goes, but if you have a situation where perhaps, you get to a certain point near the end of the season where you then go into a playoff where you maybe you have the two teams play 2 legs or play 1 game, or maybe you have a situation where you have 4 teams as semi-finalists to give it a little bit more jeopardy, and then you kind of finish with one ultimate penultimate winner. And first of all, when I was listening, talking about it, I was kind of thinking like, oh, fuck that shit. You know, this is the way we've always done it. But thinking about it over a couple of days, it kept popping in my head. I kind of was thinking to myself, I kind of get where he's coming from. You know, when you have like a competition and you get to like a stage where you maybe have a semi-final and a final, or maybe you just go straight to a final, but some sort of a playoff system. And I don't totally reject the idea as I did when I initially heard it. Mm-hmm. And I just wondered what other people thought. And I know probably it's the first time that you're hearing it, you might just reject it out of hand, like I did. Yeah. But I did, when I let it permeate a little bit, I could understand the argument for it. I'm not saying that I'm advocating for it. I'm not saying that I'm advocating for it, but I can understand the thinking.
No.
No way.
It's the league is all about your bread and butter consistency throughout 11 months of the year, 12 months of the year.
It's like that. It's like that thing they had a few years ago that wanted to introduce a 39th game where teams would come out here and play in the United States, a 39th game.
Right.
And that got thrown out, you know. No, you play 38 games, and where you finish in the table, that's where you finish. No bollocks about playoffs. I mean, this bullshit. I mean, I'm not a fan of playoffs because
you've got that. You already have that. That's what the EFL. That's what the Carabao Cup is, right? Because that is you playing a knockout style football against the league, right? Yeah, that's what that is. You know what? You want it. You're already playing it. You just need to big it up a little bit more. That's all you need to do. The games need to be bigged up a little bit more. So there's a lot more marketing and a lot more interest in them, because that's what they should be, right? Well, you're talking about playing you're doing it already. Why do you do it already?
I know. I understand that for the lower leagues. But the Premier League.
No. The Carabao Cup isn't the Carabao Cup only the Premier League, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a cup competition.
No, but he's asking for the playoff style where it's a knockout. You lose, you go home, right?
But
what
I would do.
You're playing it now. You don't need to. That's what all I mean. That's all.
You would be pretty pissed off if you watched your team go invincible, and then lose for a kind of a knockout system at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's what's the point in playing 38 games if it means nothing?
Yeah.
All right. Let me throw something in. Tony,
can I throw mine in first?
Yeah, because if I say something, you'll talk over me anyway. So go right ahead.
The NBA this year, they did the in-season playoff. So if you took that to Premier League, you mix in, it counts as a regular game, but it's a League Cup game.
Stop it. Why are you asking for something you're already playing? Can we stop?
No, you put the
League playing it now.
So it's no separate competition. No, it's no separate competition.
No, they have it. Stop.
They don't have it.
Tony, get out. Stop the car, get out. Walk
they
and
don't
go back.
Have it, Gary.
No, don't leave the house. Don't leave the house.
Alonzo, come on, Alonzo. Come on in.
Stop.
2 minutes left.
Get out the car, get back in the house.
5 minutes left, Alonzo. Come on in for 5 minutes.
What are you doing?
That won't work.
Stan shows you the style of football that he's talking about. He got it already.
Stan, you see what you've started now?
They don't have it.
Stan, you remember?
Tony rambling now. We're in
trouble. What am I rambling about, right, Gary? I'm saying, what if you incorporated the League Cup into the Premier League season? That's all I'm saying.
What does that mean?
I know what you do.
Did you not
incorporate
it?
You get the last 4 teams, right, and then you assemble 4 chairs, and each manager's going to sit on a chair. And then you play some music, right? And I've got to get up and run around, and you take the chair out, and then the music will stop, and someone will have a chair, and you'll keep going until the team won.
But wouldn't that make
Sam
the League Cup?
Allardyce not winning.
That wouldn't make the League Cup.
You get a parcel,
worth
right?
watching
And
if it
you
was
get a parcel.
counted as a
Right, but hear me out, right? Here's the thing. It's not an ordinary parcel. It's got layers and layers and layers and layers of paper on it. That's the thing. You got to keep passing it around, and you rip off a lot. No, the music starts again, and you keep going until you get to the trophy.
Yeah.
Why don't we just flip a coin?
Also,
Get the.
No. Now, see, that's nonsense. After all this, you bring that up. Now you just went crazy now.
as Alonso said, also there's a Final Four tournament, Tony, and
rock paper
Stefan
scissors.
is liking your ideas, Stan. It's liking your ideas, Stan. Okay, look, I think the EFL Championship does it really well because you start out, if you're in the top two, you get automatically
I mean, if
promoted.
they want to do that better, they should make those first set of games, two-legged, right? Because
But they do.
No, the first rounds or whatever.
Yeah, they do. You've got 4 teams, right? They play two legs. They play, one game at one team's ground, and then they play the return leg at the other team's ground, and then whoever wins on aggregate goes to Wembley for the final to get promoted.
About you do that from round 1 when you're playing.
They did try that a few years ago, and they stopped doing that because it was too many games. They did the first 2 rounds was played over 2 legs.
Hear me out. So hear me out.
So while you lot are discussing this, right? My mind has been thinking of things like managers. American Gladiators. You got to get in that. You got to get in that big ball atmosphere, and you got to roll around. I'm thinking of. I'm going there.
3 up, 3 down.
Or where you've got to stand up on a high thing, and you've got like a big cotton bud, and you've got to bash the other guy with the cotton bud. I'm going to places like that, and I shouldn't be. I know I shouldn't be, and I'm sorry.
The only thing I'm thinking of is legs, because I heard legs say way too many times.
I know. I was feeling for you, Tony, when they were saying all that 2 legs and over 2 legs this and over 2 legs that. Look, I think that although Stefan's against it, should be 3 up, 3 down like years ago. I think the playoffs are very interesting. It is tough when you're third and the 6th place team wins the playoff in the EFL and gets promoted. I'm proposing, why don't we do this in the Premier League? 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th playoff.
No.
Or top 4.
No.
Top 4.
No.
What?
No.
Dude, what?
Stan started this.
You know what? If I wanted to watch that
kind of
style, if I wanted to watch that style of football, then watch the MLS. All right. Yeah. I don't want to watch MLS.
Stan
in England,
just planted a chaos grenade.
Yeah, the chaos. So, okay,
all 4 managers are parachuted into like a jungle area where there's like tigers and lions, and they've only got like a compass and like a piece of bread to survive. And whoever makes it out is the winner.
What's that movie with Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and all those? They get parachuted in, they have to fight.
Did you see
what name, but
that one?
Yeah, right.
Did you see what they have now, Ray? Did you ever watch Deal or No Deal?
Yes.
Now they have Deal or No Deal, but it's basically Survivor, where you're on this island and you have to earn the briefcases.
Thing is, though, could you imagine if Crystal Palace somehow managed to fluke it into the top 4? There's no way Roy Hodgson is making a parachute. He's not even making that bit. He's not making
that. It's no longer there.
It's
no longer there. It's no longer there.
Oh, really?
But what?
No, he got stepped down.
That got announced. It got announced that he was stepping down, and they had a new manager the same day. That's just, to me, that's weird happening in football, because usually after you fire
you think they were sitting there going, Roy Hodgson is long for Crystal Palace the first day he even stepped on the pitch for them?
Oh, it's like the third
Tony,
time he's joined him.
Tony,
this
they
week.
were already looking. They wasn't in. They were already looking for the next manager when he
The
stepped
the
in.
next
Shitbags for
manager,
bringing
they
him back.
keep him
They were
10 to
shitbags for bringing
14.
him back, weren't they? They were shitbags for doing that. You know what I mean? They should never have enticed him back. They're shitbags. They're thinking of themselves. Short-term thinking.
So, did I miss the news feed? Did he? Is he ill now?
Yeah, I think
He
he
came
Yeah.
ill
he
last
wasn't even. They weren't
Thursday.
able to formally like let him go and like say bye to the media and all that kind
No,
of
he's
stuff.
ill, and they sacked him.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what they did?
I thought he got fired and then he was ill. But I mean, everybody's looking at that whole Vieira situation and going, they should just let Vieira ride this thing out. You know?
They let him go on St. Patrick's Day, Gary. How do you like that? St. Patrick's Day, he got fired. Patrick Vieira got fired on St. Patrick's Day last year.
Yeah,
And now Roy Hodgson's not. Whether he was fired before or after, we all knew it was going to happen sooner or later, right? From those results. So yeah,
Didn't he get fired on Pancake Day? That seems to be very
Because-
symbolic, don't they?
Fat Tuesday.
Yeah.
all right, let's get out of here because
Poor Roy.
it's just turned into just the nonsense
Gary,
hour. Yes.
Give us your final thoughts, Gary.
Let's get out of here. Arsenal get that win. Do not take that loss into
All right.
this one. All right.
Gary, who do I give final word to out of these?
No, I just did it. We're done. Let's go.
Oh no, you got to give an answer. You got to pick one.
I gave you an answer. You don't like my answer.
No, you have to nominate Stan.
You ever see that? What is it?
Lawrence.
End the show, Dave. Come
You
on.
have to do Stan, Lawrence, or Tony. Pick one.
Who gets the last say?
Yeah, who gets to talk next?
You know what? It's not going to be Tony because we need to cut him off. So I'm going to go. I think Lawrence goes
All right,
last.
Lawrence.
Lawrence is ahead of
Okay. I'm not. Okay, I was very pissed off at the beginning of this podcast after what happened yesterday.
Then I came in and
After Tony's look at opinions, right? I'm going to just say, come on, you Gunners.
Yeah, exactly. And who do you want to speak next, Lawrence? Tony or Stan? Who do you want to speak next, Tony or
Is it really
Stan?
that difficult? Is it really that difficult, Lawrence?
Did he fall asleep on us?
Come on, hand the
What?
gavel.
No, my feed's breaking up. That's why. What,
Who next?
I just
Tony or
said,
Stan?
right, after.
Tony or Stan? All right, Tony, take it
He cut
away.
off.
We know Lawrence would have nominated you, Tony, right?
Yeah, probably. I just kind of want to know where fan outrage is.
Where Gabrielle is. Okay.
I
Fan
didn't
outrage.
remember when we played Newcastle.
Isn't it? It's like the podcast has just fucking started. We've been here for 2 hours and 8 minutes. It's just started.
I didn't know when we played Newcastle. That's why I asked. Because he didn't play the first 3 games. So that's why I asked.
All we know
Dude,
is
can we just say
Newcastle
bye?
is November.
Say good night, Tony.
Nope. I'm not gonna say it.
Tony.
Stan's turn.
All right.
Stan's turn.
Check out Stan's Gooner Shack on Etsy as well. Tony, you got 5 seconds. Say it.
Come watch us at 2 a.m. Central Time Saturday morning to watch the Elimination Chamber.
Okay, that sounds late. But anyway, Stan, what do you got? Take us out of here, Stan.
I think my wife has left
Tony.
me.
It's all Tony's fault, right?
All right,
That's all
Tony.
I've got.
Take us. Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
All right. Somebody shouting, Tony.
Who's
Thanks,
shouting?
Lawrence, Gary, Stan,
Yes.
Tony. Take care,
Yeah.
everybody. We'll see you
Thanks,
on
Ray.
Sunday, okay?
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay.